right. We should be firing up any minute now. Almost there. We're starting, yes. No. Something to that effect. Looks like we're on. Let's go down here. See if anybody's in the house. Hey, Trackmaster, what's going on? LaserDisc Home Theater. It's got some Faygo. Seems like he's drinking. What's going on with your 4Ks in the house? What's up, my friend? What happened to your Cristalio video, LaserDisc Home Theater? I like watched it and then I was going to leave a comment and that disappeared. Film Nerd Corey in the house. What's up, my friend? What's going on, everybody? So yeah, sorry for being out last week. And oh man, everyone's showing up. What is up, everyone? Welcome aboard. Thursday night, back to Thursday for a little bit, just because 'tis the season. Melinda, hello. Oh, massive power supply failure. That'll do it. All right, fair enough. Spencer too in the house. Sweet. Strictly Sega. Share y'all. Yeah, hopefully Moiki will show up. That'd be amazing. Let's see. LaserDisc Home Theater's already dropping controversial S-bombs. To release those. But yeah, you probably know I was out last week. I was going to do a video, but then everything just got a little wacky for the last couple days of the week. And the big Boston LaserDisc swap, which really wasn't that big, but it was cool. It was nice and chill for the most part. That was last Saturday, and then pretty much the rest of the weekend I was just recovering. Yes, so we'll talk about the laser swap for sure, and then I got some discs, I got some hardware, fun things like that. So we'll get on that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what happened the week before that we didn't get to chat about. I'm sure everybody watched the Terminator Dark Fate trailer today, which was pretty underwhelming. I don't know. I'm not feeling it, which is strange. Mostly because it was heralded as this big return to T2 form, and it really felt more like a combination of T3 Salvation and Genesis. It felt way closer to those films than anything from T2, except for the Linda Hamilton factor. And I wasn't in love with that cover of Bjork's The Hunter. I mean, can't touch the original. And then it was just like it was like almost fan trailer, like slow song action stuff. I don't know. I wasn't loving it. Oh, Austin's in the house too. Yep. So yeah, Melinda asked. I did get some swap pickups for sure, and I got one disc in the mail that I had been waiting for, and I just won some discs last night. So those supposedly are shipping tomorrow. And I did a swap with 4K Cinema HD, so I'm going to get a new UHD from him probably next week as well. So some things coming up. Yeah, right? The music in that trailer was pretty lame. I don't know. It just seemed really like slapdash and whatever. And yeah, no one's digging the CGI. And I don't know, it just didn't have a lot of zazz to it. What's her face there? Mackenzie Davis? I like her, but I don't know. And yeah, it's cool that Linda Hamilton's back in it, but it just, I don't know. Like, and the fact that Tim Miller's doing it is supposed to be this big thing, and it's like, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not any more excited for Tim Miller to be doing a Terminator movie than I was for Jonathan Mostow to be doing a Terminator movie, or Mick G to be doing a Terminator movie. Like, that doesn't seem like a selling point, really, to me. So, all the best movies are on LaserDisc. There we go. That's the official stance. Just get T1 and T2 and call it a day. I mean, I don't mind. Rise of the Machines had some moments I enjoyed, and I liked the twist ending. I thought that was pretty cool. Salvation I saw like a number of times in the theater, and it was fun. It had some things. Sam Worthington is really not very dynamic or interesting, but so he was kind of a little bit of a weak point for it, but the Christian Bale aspect and the late Anton Yelchin was great, and So that was fun, and Genesis was trying a little too hard, but it, again, had some moments and had some fun. But like, yeah, it seemed like every like exciting point of this movie was underwhelming. Like when it revealed old Schwarzenegger, it's like, all right, yeah, but that was already well plumbed in Genesis, so it doesn't really have any impact now. I mean, it's interesting to think about what his context of the in the story in here. Like, yeah, if this is following on the heels of T2, like, is he another T800, or is he, this weird old guy that created a bunch of T800s in his name or something like that? But we'll see. Yeah, they do have time to fix some CGI. Sure, it's early in the game, and yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so I guess it's interesting to see what's going on there. But it just seems pretty upfront about really trying to set up a new batch of characters to make a new trilogy or something out of. But I don't know. It just it's not exciting me yet. Again, if Cameron was involved, that would be another story altogether. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like yet another in a series of non-canonical spin-offs of Terminator. So anyways, so that was the disappointment of the day. Not really that much of a disappointment, because whatever. 4K was watching the Richard Donner Superman 2. I've never seen that. I do want to see it just to see it, but that's one of those weird ones where, I saw it in the theater probably like 4 times, and every time it was on Spotlight, on cable, I would watch it over and over again. So that's like one of those movies that's like really close to me. So it's weird thinking, obviously I didn't have much of a critical bone in my body when that movie came out, even though I watched Siskel and Ebert all the time. And but I mean, I didn't really have any criticisms of that film. So in my mind, as like a young 10-year-old or something by the time that came out, it was like totally perfect in my mind. So as a young person, so it's weird to think of it as this flawed could have been situation. I didn't know Richard Lester, I didn't know Donner, I didn't know anybody back then. I mean, I knew who Spielberg was and George Lucas, etc. But so I am excited to actually see it at some point, but it's weird to wrap my head around thinking about it as a flawed product or something. But then everyone I hear says that the Donner cut is interesting and does some new things, but isn't quite perfect on its own. But I'll grab it. I'll check it out sometime. But all right, what else is going on? Oh man, Hey Anonymous watched 12 Monkeys for the first time. I love 12 Monkeys. That's that one period, like 95, 96, there was all this sick cinema going on. I know there's that book, of course, about 99 being the best movie year ever. But there's some between 94, 96 too. I mean, so that doesn't count as a year, but there was some killer stuff going down. Oh, Paul Muad'Dib is in the house. Your name is a killing sound. Use it wisely. But yeah, 12 Monkeys is great, and got me back into connection with Vertigo, and of course led me into La Jetée, which is awesome. And Sharpen Up the Knives saw John Wick 3. I had a bunch of friends that went last night and really dug it, and I meant to pop in the theaters and check it out sometime. So maybe if there's some quiet moments over the weekend at some point, I'll get out and see it. Donner Cut's darker, and all right. No Gene Hackman voice impersonator. All right. I'll definitely peep it for sure. The finale is, holy crap. It's really, I don't know. It's just like a really kind of like emotionally powerful flick, and really, I don't know. I mean, it's got the usual Terry Gilliam-esque kind of weirdness and the Gilliam style. I love the Hamster Factor documentary, where he talks about how at that point, like, Gilliam-esque had already become its own thing, so he could let his staff run off and get weird things for set dressings, and all that would just take care of itself. Like, he didn't have to really put that much of his imprint on it because everyone knew what his aesthetic was at that period. So it just kind of took care of itself. But just the weirdness of the injection mechanism for the time travel, and just the mentally divergent kind of feel of it. And yeah, Bruce Willis has knocked out some really killer moments in that thing. Yeah, I don't want a bit where he's like spittles coming out of his mouth while he's attacking that guy, and holy cow, yeah. Yeah, so 12 Monkeys, it's amazing. Terminator Dark Fate remains to be seen. I still haven't seen the 12 Monkeys TV show, mostly because I love the movie so much. I'm kind of worried that it's gonna, I don't think, the TV show is not gonna hamper my love for the film, but I don't know, it's just nothing that like I wanted. Like, the movie was perfect for me, like totally perfect. But that was such a fun flick to Subliminal Vibes in the house too. What's up? It was just such a fun flick to kind of hash out and talk with people, because there's so much kind of quick visual information in the finale, and a lot of people misinterpreted bits wrong, and it really made for a good conversation fodder. It was really easy to miss some kind of key elements of what happened. Yeah, man, killer flick. I've got the Signature Collection box back there somewhere, and the normal letterbox release, and of course got the Blu-ray too. But so yeah, I figure there's enough people in the house. I got some stuff over the past week or two. Pete 9072 in the house. Welcome aboard. The first thing I grabbed was nothing too exciting, but I've been excited to grab AC3 reissues of things, and this was a THX reissue that added AC3 to The Last of the Mohicans, so I figured I would grab that. I found a copy online cheap, and it looks like it's in good condition, so I grabbed that. And I've heard people complain about, well, not really complain about the 5.1 track on here, that it's not full 5.1. It's not that impactful. I heard the PCM one is, if not as good, maybe better, but yeah, still I can't say no to the THX reissue. And yeah, if you are ever looking for it, thankfully there's a tiny little THX logo. This might be better than Mikey's Pan and Scan Hall. We'll see. But yeah, there's a tiny little THX logo on the jacket, and that's how you can tell that it's the reissue from, what year was that, 97? 93 is when the original release came out. And does it have, it has the original trailer. Yeah, not seeing a restamp. Does it have it on the hub? Probably not. Everything's just 93. But this did not obviously come out in 93. Must have been like 96, 97, something like that. Anyways, so that finally showed up, and I was worried because the seller was taking forever to get at it. First LaserDisc I ever had was Alien 3. That and Project Daco I bought on the same night, and I bought those before I bought a LaserDisc player. I went to a place called Service Merchandise, and I looked for a Pioneer player, and they didn't have any. And then I went over to the Saturday Matinee store and bought a couple LaserDiscs, then went to a Filene store of all places and bought my Sony player there. So, oh yeah, Last of the Mohicans is top notch. Michael Mann for me. The romantic scenes are smoking hot in that thing, and the soundtrack is smoking hot. Just the overall vibe of it is killer. I had a friend that was obsessed with it. We used to crank it up in his dorm room, and he'd like recite all of Magua's lines. He was definitely Team Magua, and if you got enough sauce in him, he would jack you up against a wall and recite all sorts of Magua quotes to you. And I will say I am guilty of whenever I'm in one of those Pirates Covey type, mini golf areas where they have like a waterfall. There's one where there's like a little waterfall that goes in front of the mini golf level. I will eventually grab somebody and recite Hawkeye's lines there. I may have done that once or twice to somebody, tell them to stay alive. I will find them. And yeah, if you're a fan of Last of the Mohicans, you must do yourself a favor and get the Ben Stiller show, or at least check out the video online when he was doing the Mohican Master. Was it the Mohican Master 2000 or 3000 workout routine? And Jazzercise's Wolves is on that too. It's great stuff. Gonna start it on a light workout, chased by bears. Yeah, Vinny is in the house and was also a service merchandise shopper. Yeah, I missed that place. It was weird. They had all the stuff out on the floor, but if it was something like electronics, they had these little tickets you had to pull out, and there'd be like a whole little container full of tickets, and you'd grab the ticket, and then you'd go up front, and you'd have to wait over by the rollers for your box to finally come flying out of the back. But yeah, service merchandise had a moderate amount of pioneers, more like the low to mid end stuff. So, yeah, there we go. All right, a favorite THX disc. That's tough. I mean, I might have to go with the original, the Abyss, the box set. This special edition is the beast. Yeah, the LD has got the theatrical cut for Last of the Mohicans, so it's great. I mean, I did buy the DTS DVD that came out, and then I bought the newer Blu-ray with the retinkering one, and I do like the cuts that have the Clannad song in it, even though it's anachronistic and everything. But I love that song. I love that the soundtrack rocks. It's one of those first movies where I saw like a mix of composers. Like there was always movies where composers were yanked off of, like Lalo Schifrin on The Exorcist and Alex North on 2001. But this one was like a mix of composers because Michael Mann felt that it needed a little bit more. So that seemed to be the norm a lot more now, especially post Hans Zimmer working with everybody and their mother. But it was cool. I was like, wow, man, both of these guys are dropping killer tunes, man. All right. So let's move on. I probably have some more questions I got to answer, but I also grabbed Extreme Measures. I got a bit of a soft spot for this thing, and I never got it on LaserDisc. I rented it back in the day, and it's got one of those. It's got a real Michael Crichton kind of Robin Cook-esque, medical paranoia vibe going on, and yeah, just always meant to pick it up, and it was in one of the cheap bins at the Laser Swap. So yeah, long story short, there was the second of hopefully many Laser Swaps going on in Somerville, Massachusetts, at our friend Wiley's store, which is called High Energy Vintage. And he stocks Laserdiscs anyways, regularly. He's got a ton of Laserdiscs. So if you're ever in Somerville, Mass, or just in Greater Boston, stop by there, see what he's got. But he's been hosting a couple events, and this time we actually did it in the backyard, you could call it, of the store, and hung out back there for a while. Oh, I got a snake in its tail. All right, I think I'm back. But yeah, so it was a good chance for me to dig through some of the other guys' wares, and I got to meet Bill, who's a frequent poster on some of the other Facebook groups I'm on, and we've been collaborating and talking online many times, so it was cool getting to meet. I got to meet Matthew McLean, who you may have seen on Laserdisc Forever if you're in the Laserdisc Forever group, and yeah, so gave me an opportunity to pick out some really cheap discs that I'd wanted to get for a while. That's DADC USA pressing, Extreme Measures, but I watched it, and it's got maybe mild speckling, but I couldn't actually see the speckling with the noise reduction activated during the actual playback. I could only see it if I used the still frame feature and paused it. Then I could see a little bit of color flashing, as the officials would call it back in the day. But yeah, it looked fantastic. So I figured it was worth the gamble. It was cheap. And then another soundtrack I love was a favorite of mine. Speaking of Michael Crichton, I've been meaning to get it and Bill had a copy of this, and I'm like, this has been on my to get list. Another THX LaserDisc, Extreme Measures of Rot. But I never had Rising Sun. I saw this in the theater and enjoyed it. I was a big fan of the book and thought the movie dropped the ball on a few things, but it got enough right. And it had, the taiko drums in it was killer. The soundtrack was really interesting. It kind of had this, like, I don't know, like Japan noir thing going for it that I liked. And has its moments for sure. So I'd been wanting to watch it again for a while, and I think the last time I saw it was just on cable or whatever, cable schmable. So I figured, why not? I'll pull the trigger on Rising Sun. It's nice and cheap, and I've been avoiding getting it. Not really avoiding, but just missing getting it for the longest time. Then again, I found that this one still had the shrink on it. You know, it was open, but so I was able to check out the discs and everything like that, but it looked like the jacket was in good condition. AC3 Dolby Digital. But yeah, I never saw Roland Joffe's take on the Scarlet Letter. But Gary Oldman in the 90s, man. You can't say no to Gary Oldman in the 90s. And I, like many people, had to read the book in high school. And I saw the Meg Foster adaptation that was probably maybe aired on PBS or something like that. And so I figured, what the hell? I'll grab Sky Gary Oldman. He's the man. It'll be like, Bram Stoker's Dracula, but without teeth. Something like that. And with more giant A's. So I grabbed that, and I'm trying to remember who pressed that. That might have been Pioneer USA. But yeah, it wasn't a DADC USA, so that's good. That was also part of the fun, was Steve, one of the guys at the swap, had about 400 LDs and multiple copies of each one. So it was fun, like other people were looking for things like Usual Suspects and other things where there was multiple pressings of them, and lots of course, like Men in Blacks. And so I was having a blast just pulling through, trying to find like Pioneer USA pressings of known routers and things like that. So it was cool. It was fun. Hey, speaking of known routers, I also had to pull the trigger on Bill's copy of Starship Poopers. I've been, of course, slacking on picking this up for the longest time. I do have Passenger 57, though I think there was a AC3 reissue later on, which I don't have. I have the original, like very early 90s one, so I'd need to get a new copy of that. But yeah, I'd been dragging my heels on Starship Troopers. I lived vicariously through my buddy's copy when it came out, and just never got around to getting this because I knew of the rot situation. And I had one in my hand once I saw Bill's, and I'm like, well, I guess I need to actually buy this. And disc 1 is completely rot-free. And Paul Muad'Dib getting excited. Yeah, I mean, it's great to get the Japanese one, though it does have like a tiny bit of censorship, about a little bit of lines about Hiroshima. But yeah, I had to get this sucker. It looks fantastic. I mean, of course, when it's not rotted. Disc 2 does have some speckling, so I'm going to have to try and find a clean Disc 2 at some point. It's still watchable, but Disc 1 looked fantastic all the way through, and it's just, oh man, such a great looking flick. And yeah, stay away from the sequels. And it does have like a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff. It's got like a whole set of extra scenes on side 4, and yeah, all sorts of behind the scenes goodness. So Paul Verhoeven craziness. Love, yeah, rot. So I've got half of a clean copy of Starship Troopers, so that's way better than I ever thought it was going to be. So yeah, go Rico's Roughnecks. And this is just fixing a bit of foolishness, because I, of course, had this back in the day because it was one of my favorite flicks. I skipped school to go see it and go mini golfing the day it came out. And, oh yeah, the propaganda of Starship Troopers is amazing. The only good bug is a dead bug. starring Cher, y'all. Yeah, this one was a flick I saw the day it came out, and I bought the Laserdisc right away. And then, yeah, this THX version came out, and I had it. And then I went through the stupid period when I was culling the herd of my LDs. Of course, I didn't have the quality storage I have now. So I gave this away to Goodwill, and then I'm like, I'm an idiot. I need that back. So I got the widescreen THX copy of Total Recall. I always find copies of the pan and scan one. Well, not really, partially pan and scan possibly, but it's 1.85 to 1 movie anyway. So you're not that you're going to be missing too much, but I had to get it and replace it. It's got a little bit of shelf wear, but nah, it's nice. So that's back on the shelf. All right, let's see what else we got going on. And then this one, it's funny, I don't even really love this movie. I saw this when I was living in LA when it came out, opening weekend, and I don't know, I didn't really dig the finale, the secret twist. I kind of saw that coming a mile away. Think 7 times 7. Yeah, that's hyperbole. Anne Marie O'Connor from Mademoiselle magazine. Think 7 times 7, and then detract 7 from that, because that's what you get with Kiss the Girls, which is the really dark take on Sebastian the Crab and his story from Little Mermaid. Or it's a film with Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman, and yeah, it was okay. It was fine, but it didn't really kick my ass. And the kind of wrap up was, I don't know, it felt like there was bits missing from it too. Like there was like one bit where, I remember it was either her or somebody was, I mean, I haven't seen this since probably 97, but somebody was like in danger and they were like stuck somewhere, and then the next thing I know, they're like on the side of a highway. I'm like, well, how the hell did they get there? So tell me of your homeworld, Usul. Anyways, but I mean, it's an AC3 disc. The jacket was nice, and if I am going to watch it again, I'm going to want to watch it again on LD. So, dude, Kiss the Girls, it is. Yeah, RoboCop is tough to beat. Paul hates the floating heads on the Kiss the Girls. Yeah, right? The start of the trend, or, yeah, probably, the trend had already started by then, but it was too late. But yeah, RoboCop and Total Recall are both like, they appeared. I forgot who it was. I was talking with somebody, or they read something, or they I forgot if they were Dutch, and they were saying that they saw something on TV about how Paul Verhoeven was in like in an institute for a while, and that he had gone mad or something to that effect. But you could always see, even though he was, okay and rehabilitated, you could always see his madness in his work or something like that, and that's why they loved it. I wish I could remember the whole story and who it was that I was talking to, but yeah, I love that kind of heightened level of insane, uber violence and everything like that. But yeah, it's not just cheesy. Yeah, like there's always something else interesting going on there, and yeah, the biting kind of social commentary in RoboCop, and the propaganda, and Starship Poopers, and yeah, Total Recall just had the paranoia. Yeah, I love it. It was cool. But yeah, Alex Cross novels are far better than the films. Yeah, I can imagine. 2 weeks. This one was on my list for a long time. Never did pick it up. And it's a gatefold, even though it's only 1 disc, which is wacky. But it's a sweet AC3 issue from, what the hell? 1978 film, or 1975 film. 1996. Sweet gatefold of Michael Crichton's The Great Train Robbery. And it was in tasty condition. And I had to pull the trigger on it. It's got a couple special features. Audio commentary with Crichton. New transfer from a 35mm internegative. And yeah, it's got audio commentary and AC3. And some sweet gatefold action. So glad to have that as part of my Michael Crichton LD collection. Love those reissues, man. 96 and on, all these cool reissues came out, including this, which not only it should have been on my hit list, but I didn't even know this existed. I just thought there was only a pan and scan version or open matte version from the early 90s or something. I saw this film on cable and I really dug it. And after watching that TV Nicholas Roeg version of whatchamacallit, Hearts of Darkness, or Heart of Darkness, I was like, I want to see this flick again. And then all of a sudden, there it is. And there was like a Pioneer remastered widescreen version, which came out, I think this was 96 as well. Totally had no idea this was released, and I was psyched. And the jacket and everything is minty. But Mountains of the Moon. Yeah, so good stuff. This will go, next to Heart of Darkness and things like Mosquito Coast and everything. But yeah, I don't know if there's any special editions on here. Yeah, there's a making of, which is sick, and the theatrical trailer. And but yeah, Ian Glenn and Patrick Bergen are Captain Richard Burton and Lieutenant John Speake, and they're going to find the source of the Nile. And yeah, it's cool, awesome flick. So I was like more than psyched to find that. And just because I freaking love this movie, and of all the movies to have on DTS, one is, of course, Jurassic Park. Speaking of which, I might be getting some more Jurassic Park-related stuff. But I had to get the Strange Days DTS. I got it for a song, and it was still sealed. And how do you say no to Strange Days and DTS? Sounds amazing already. I checked it out last night, and you just have to watch the opening 10 minutes or so, and you'd be like, yes, money well spent. And it does retain the special features from the AC3 version, Catherine Bigelow's discussion commentary, and the bonus supplemental stuff, the music video and the bonus scenes and all that stuff. I think 4K was saying there's a German Blu-ray out there, and I had the crappy DVD non-anamorphic port, which is just the same transfer as this basically. But this was the AC3 one I bought opening night, or release night, from a Saturday matinee actually too. These Fox discs were expensive as hell. It was either $50 or $60. I want to say it was $50 or $49.98 or something like that. And yeah, I freaking love this movie. Sadly, I only saw it once in the theaters, but I did get to see it in the theaters at least. And yeah, never say no to a DTS disc. So I do have 2 more DTS discs coming my way right now. Skunk Anansi video. Yeah, that kicks ass, man. Selling Jesus and Metalheads. There's like a tiny bit of Testament in the movie too, which is cool, even though they didn't make it to the soundtrack. But dude, the soundtrack, freaking Deep Forest with Peter Gabriel, and that song Fallen Light is awesome. Man, there's so much good stuff on there. Yeah, love that flick. So apparently the kids are having a big Dune off in here. And just for redundancy, I had to get the CAV box of Dawn of the Dead, even though I have the CLV Elite rendition of the director's cut. And I had to watch this just because there's never a night when I don't want to watch a version of Dawn of the Dead. Bill was also selling the Chuck Billy, man. Yeah, in fact, you can see him doing his like traditional like hold the microphone over his head kind of move in one scene. But sadly, they didn't really make the cut. But they're in the movie, like briefly. But yeah, so Dawn of the Dead, I had to watch it. This is the quote unquote director's cut. Bill was also selling the Zombie Argento cut, which of course I have on not on LD, but I have on the Anchor Bay DVD set, which is probably one of my favorite DVDs, at least definitely top 5 DVDs. Love that thing. But had to get this sucker. Decent special features. And what year did this drop? It was during that period of like kick-ass stuff from Elite and Ruin and everything like that. But yeah, mid to late 90s. And nothing too much on the inside, but there is this drop-in stuff. This is pretty sweet, like super glossy insert. A little bit of a write-up on the flick, and then production credits and chapters on the backside. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, I don't mind any version. Of course, any version with a little bit more of the Goblin soundtrack is nice, but this one's cool too. And yeah, it looks great. Yes, thank you. So that was it for flicks, believe it or not. It wasn't too, I didn't go too crazy. But yeah, I still haven't pulled the trigger on Heavy Metal because the rot situation. Someday I'll get that because I freaking love that flick, even though the animation's like a little wonky, but whatever. So yeah, also grabbed a couple things, including one that I've been meaning to try on my signal chain forever. I'm like 5 years behind the curve, behind everybody else, but got a Ferrugia NRS video processor, and I might reset up my LD system and rewire it like a number of ways, like maybe 3 different ways. And this has some killer, it's all BNCs on the back of this thing, and it's got a fixed output of what, 1024 by 768, and it's got the H&V sync and the RGB on the back here, so I can run that directly into my DVDO, and the DVDO accepts that resolution. So I might give this a shot. I don't know if I'll end up using the comb filter over the comb filter of the next beast I'm going to show you, but I've been meaning to try one of these guys forever. So yeah, Ferrugia, good. So this is one of the earlier ones before they added DVI outs and everything like that, but yeah, so we got some video processor goodness. And let's drop this down without breaking anything. Yeah, Romero is like Fulci. I know, I love Fulci stuff, but I don't love the idea of having to sell my car for a copy of Zombie 2. Unfortunately, it's just, his stuff is just so overpriced. And like, it's all widely available on Blu-ray. So yeah, I mean, I've got stuff from Blue Underground, and yeah, Argento's got a lot of great releases on Blu-ray as well, so not too worried about it. So yeah, then the next thing I got, yeah, thanks Austin. I'll report back on how it is. I figure I'm gonna run through, because I've got a DVD recorder that I use for like my big like main system for the comb filter, and DPS 90 for like noise reduction and YC delay and all that stuff, and then into my DVDO. So I might run a couple ways through that rig, and then also run separately through this, and then run all that into my DVDO, so I can maybe switch between like 3 different setups, and yeah, be like LaserDisc Home Theater and see which one's favorite song from Heavy Metal. Well, like, I'm a huge Devo fan, so Working in the Coal Mine is like up there, but what was it, Don Felder that did Take a Ride on Heavy Metal? That's up there. That was like one of my favorites when it first came out. I was obsessed with the movie because I couldn't see it right away in theaters because it was, for adults, but I did con my mom into letting me watch it when it first premiered on, I think Spotlight was over by that point. I think it was on the movie channel. And yeah, oh dude, Mob Rules too. Good call. So yeah, maybe it's a tie between Mob Rules and Devo. If you love Black Sabbath, you'll love Devo. Whoops, I might slip down working in a coal mine. I still remember the night, like, I actually conned my mom into letting me watch Heavy Metal, and like I had to take a bath like before it was on, and like I was like doing my ears and stuff with Q-tips like as the movie started. It was like really tight. I was worried I was going to miss some of it, and yeah, it was certainly a little awkward, but yep. So yeah, Mob Rules is tough to beat. There's a lot of like early 80s like filler stuff. It's funny, all the soundtracks around that time were all like driven by who was it, like Irving Azoff, or one of the same guy that did the Fast Times at Ridgemont High soundtrack. It's like that movie should have had a way more new wavy soundtrack than it did. It's amazing they got Oingo Boingo on there, but it was like It was a movie about teens, but it was like all aimed straight at like yuppies and like, you know, middle-aged dudes. Like, kids want way more Don Felder in their life. Like, do they? Do they really? I don't think they do. Yep, the kids are all about the Joe Walsh and the Don Felder and the Jackson Brown. Anyways, so moving right along, I got a final machine here. Paul Muad'Dib is out. He's gonna miss the final. He missed the finale. Well, I will think about you when I show it. But yes, so I got this thing. I don't know if I'll be able to lift it. Boom, 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 boom. Oof. And try not to kill my microphone. But a Pioneer LDS9, one of the nice champagne releases, a Japanese only player. And here, let's see if I can show you the backside. Oof. Remove this freaking power cord. I gotta get a step down converter for this, so I still haven't actually played with it yet, but decent amount of stuff on the back. And yeah, I love these gorgeous side plates. Too cool. So I got that, and it came with the original manual, thankfully, all in Japanese, of course. So brush up on your katakana and hiragana. And even had, I think, some original like Pioneer service papers, or yeah, looks like some like Pioneer servicing going on. Badass. And Paul is sticking around. And the kick-ass remote. One of my, complaints, if I had to complain about Pioneer stuff all the time, was that I got the Pioneer. I'm a Pioneer player. I played the Pioneer. That's my neighbors. But yeah, this was, I'm trying to think of, let's see what year it was manufactured. Hold on, I'll get back to that. But yeah, I love this freaking remote. But yeah, my complaint about Pioneers was that they were always just like the darkest, deepest of blacks, and you couldn't see anything on the faceplate unless you had, the light of 1,000 suns blaring at it. It looks great in photographs and everything like that, but if it's like in a rack or something like that, or now my video is going to get copyright flagged for all these hot jams blazing from next door. But yeah, if you like install it in a dark corner or something, there's no way in hell you're seeing anything on the front of that player. This was it doesn't actually have a manufacture date. Damn it. It's probably got something in the code back here, but it was mid-ish, late-ish 90s. But so basically, like, if you get a CLD 99 here in the States, like, where do you go above that? Of course, there are other earlier players that people love more, like the CLD 97 and the LDS 2, but officially, the only where to go is over to Japan and start getting things. So this is basically a CLD 99 with an even better, it does have the button that lights up on the side. It's got the cool little lighting button there. Of course, I don't think I have any batteries in here right now. Or they are, but I don't know if they're still fresh. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see, it kind of glows up red. And I think it's also got the little jog one too. So yeah, very similar, but it's got the cool ass champagne thing going on. But yeah, so it was basically a CLD 99, but with an even more advanced comb filter, and also LDG. So now I've got freaking LD graphics, which was the the situation where you can overlay other languages over the, you still can't get rid of the Japanese subs if you're watching a Japanese disc, but you can add like English subtitles or any number of languages that are stashed on the player signal, on the disc signal. You can like kind of layer those on top, like black bar style on top of the Japanese sub. So yeah, I can watch a disc and throw on some subtitles with the LD graphics. So that was pretty cool. I've got a lot of Japanese discs that have LDG on. I mean, I think most of them are American, movies anyways with English language. But so the step down converter thing is I got to get it, but there are a couple players like the was it the R7G and the HF9G that some of them actually have the exact same power supply in them as the as like the CLD99 and some of the 704. And sometimes if you pop the hood, you can even see it like has 120 volt like right on the board. This one is nobody can ever quite agree. It doesn't have that printed right on the board. It does have a 125 volt fuse in there, but it does have a different power supply than in the 99. So they do, if you put them side by side, they are similar, but they do look different. I'm sure there are a ton of people that have run these on American voltage and not have any problem with it. But just in case I kind of like put a little bit too much stress on it, I'm gonna just go ahead and get a regular, not nothing too crazy, but a step down converter, and probably maybe like a $40 one or something like that, and use that just in case. I don't think there'll be a major problem running it on on US power, but I don't want to mess with it because, dude, it's this gorgeous player. So I got to thank Bill for helping me get that. He actually upgraded to better safe than sorry. The previous owner of this upgraded to an X9, so obviously this is small potatoes for him now. I'll do a proper video like where I can get in the nitty gritty and show it working and everything like that. So but really nice player. So I'm gonna reinstall that in my main system, or install it and swap out the player that's in there for another room in the house, and so good times. What else is going on here? But anyway, so that was the swap meet. It was cool. I got in around maybe 11:30 in the morning and hung out till probably around 5 or so. And supposedly the X9 has a better time with rotted discs. It can't completely obliterate the rot, but the laser on it has an easier time reading through the imperfections in the reflective layer. But still psyched to have this, and a little bit of noise reduction anyways does, like I said when I was watching Extreme Measures, I didn't notice any speckling anyways, but when you get to the bigger, heavier rotters like Air Force One or something like that, I can't compensate for that with with noise reduction. But so I'd be intrigued to see a rotter like that on the X9. So that was about it. I hung out till 5, drove home and unpacked and everything like that, and so good times. That's it for the LDs. I got what else going on? So I've got those 2 discs coming in the mail. I got a UHD coming in the mail and a few things on them. But actually, I don't. Closed caption box. I got closed captions like built right into my my TV. So when I hook this up to my Magnavox, I used to use that when I'd watch like Ghost in the Shell. Like the American manga release has the Japanese track and the dub, and I would play the Japanese track, but it had, of course it wasn't the official translation of the Japanese dialogue, but it was just dub titles basically. But there was, the closed captions on there, so I would put the closed captions on my TV and then just watch it in Japanese, and then bam, there we go. A little bit of little bit of a better thing. The dub's not bad for Ghost in the Shell, but I do prefer the original Japanese. So yeah, watching stuff. Obviously, I watched a lot of this stuff because of a conversation on one of the Facebook groups yesterday. But I think it was LaserDisc Forever talking about Cowboy Bebop's picture quality. I watched some Cowboy Bebop again on LD, and Melinda just asked the appropriate question. Good timing. So I watched some Cowboy Bebop, and those do look very nice on LaserDisc. So if anybody had any questions about that, yes, definitely, definitely grab that. And they're cheap as hell usually. If you can get all 9 usually, or the Session 0 with it too for next to nothing, like maybe $25 at the most. So, but yeah, so I watched these. I watched obviously Strange Days, and so Twin Peaks. I went on a Twin Peaks mega binge. So yeah, I'd already been on the last time I was talking about watching Twin Peaks: The Return for the first time, and that was one of those things. It's weird because I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, but I don't know. There's like so much going on now. It seems like if I miss something, I was talking with Vinny that over the crazy fact that I still haven't seen Trainspotting 2, even though I saw Trainspotting probably like 4 or 5 times in the theater. I'll definitely get a Japanese Air Force One at some point for sure. But yeah, like I saw Trainspotting a ton of times, read the screenplay, read the book, etc. And then the sequel came out, and it was one of those cases where like, yeah, I definitely want to see it. But in the case of things like that and Twin Peaks, like my brain had already like kind of settled on the fact that there was no, Moikey's in the house. I just showed all my stuff, Moikey, like all my new LDs and my new player and my new video processor. Sorry, it's like after watching your live stream last night, I feel like I wasn't able to pay it forward. Maybe I'll give you a recap of the discs later. But yeah, so there's like these things where it's like my brain is already used to the fact that there is no follow-up. So that, like, I don't know, I've made peace with that, so I don't no longer like actively like yearn to see a sequel. It's just like I don't need to see a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China, but if it came out, like, yeah, I guess I would have to go see it right. I mean, Blade Runner 2049 was the exception. I was there immediately. So I had to be there for that. But other things like Trainspotting or whatever, I was like, all right, I want to see that, but then I didn't, and so my life kind of moved on in the same direction. In that I still was of the mindset that there was no sequel. And then if I missed it on opening weekend, it just was super easy to keep on missing it. So it was the same thing with Twin Peaks. Like the original Twin Peaks made a monstrous impact on me. Like when it came out, it was around the same time I was moving, and I was moving to this kind of sleepier small town, very wooded. There was like woods around me for the first time, like outside my window, as opposed to the kind of more I didn't live in the city or anything like that, but it was it was suburban, but it wasn't very rural or anything like that. So I was moving to a place like at the same time Twin Peaks dropped. I don't know. It was just like at a point when I was starting to become a little bit more interested in film and cinema and things like that. The music just kicked my ass. The mood of it kicked my ass. So I just kind of like melted into the world of Twin Peaks. And lately I've actually been staying up late archiving tons of stuff because I videotaped just about every Twin Peaks special and interview and stuff. So the last week I archived. I'll get back to The Return anyways. But last week I archived a cheesy ABC special tying in with Twin Peaks Season 2 and Cop Rock, hosted by Alan Thicke. And then there was a killer special from VH1 called VH1 on 1 about the music and about Industrial Symphony No. 1 and Angelo Badalamenti and David Lynch's work with Julie Cruz. And that thing is amazing. Not the music stuff, but motorcycle stuff going on. So all right, good. I'm glad I'm not crazy, Moikey. And I got that and a bunch of old Arsenio Hall interviews with like Michael Uncan and who else? All sort of like Kimmy Robertson on David Letterman, And then I just happened to trip across the Emmys from 1990, and I was like, holy crap! Like, I had the entire Emmys, so I figured, let me go through and I'll capture every Twin Peaks-esque moment of the Emmys. So I was really like, kind of drawn into it, like it was almost time traveling, because I knew obviously damn well like what was going to happen, but it hurt anew just to see Twin Peaks not win anything on air. And it was funny because it was already becoming a phenomenon, because the show would reference Twin Peaks and all the jokes. They had the log lady in the audience. They had, like, it was one of those things where they had to give respect to the fact that it was huge, but in the second hand, like, they couldn't give it awards because it was too damn different. And to, like, yeah, we appreciate that this is the most important thing that's happened to television in decades, but 30 something, y'all. but LA Law, y'all. Yeah, no Big Trouble sequel, right? All right, I'll see you on the flip side, Moikey. But yeah, it was crazy watching David Lynch, up for Best Director of a Drama, lose to a tie of one of the guys that did, was it Thomas Carter? Or maybe he did the other show. Lose to one of the guys for 30 something, and an episode of a show called Equal Justice that had already been canceled at that point. I was like, wow, David Lynch is just losing to two like very like straightforward TV directors, and yeah, it's tough. But yeah, so that was like heart-wrenching all over again. But I did capture all the cool Twin Peaks moments. I made some archival moments of that, and some of the coverage of the Emmys and everything like that. So it was cool. It was fun, kind of time tripping back in that period. And I've been meaning to make. I'm sure all that stuff's already on YouTube anyways, but I wanted to get copies of my stuff. I do have some original Twin Peaks episodes that I left the commercials in. Normally I would use my flying erase head and edit that stuff out. So I might make archives of those too, just for fun, while I'm at it. But yeah, so anyways, so I wanted to watch The Return because I was a huge Twin Peaks fan. Obviously went and saw Firewalk with Me a bunch of times on the theaters, and I bought all the ancillary merchandising and all that stuff, and I was in. I never quite made it out to any of the conventions or anything like that, or went to see the actual locations and go to Snoqualmie or whatever. But yeah, so I didn't go quite that level, but it still was like an impact on me. And yeah, it was like, so obviously they're making a new show. I'm excited, but when I didn't have Showtime at the time, and I think maybe you could get Showtime as an add-on for Amazon. I probably should have just gotten it like I did with HBO for the last season of Game of Thrones. Yeah, Lynch is in good loser company for sure. But yeah, so it was just one of those things where it's like, once it started, it was just like Trainspotting. It was like just easier to keep on living in my world in which there was no Twin Peaks finale. So yeah, at least the Golden Globes gave it some love for sure. The Emmys are just failed. And it was also funny how unfunny Jay Leno's jokes were that year. Like that, everything was really cringy that year. It was funny too, because I was like, man, maybe just a lot of comedy wasn't funny back then. But then I also had on like another tape the premiere of the world premiere of the first episode of In Living Color, and I was laughing out loud within like 2 minutes. I was like, no, that Emmy ceremony was just really lame. But anyways, so once it started rolling, it was just easy to keep on missing it. And then I was like, well, I'd rather actually watch it on Blu-ray, considering I could stream it or something like that. And I'm glad it did, because the cinematography is pretty aggressive. Maybe not quite as aggressive as the Battle of Winterfell, but there are some scenes where there's treescapes at night and everything like that, and yeah, you need a lot of power behind that. A lot of bits flying at you to be able to resolve that, and the shades of darkness and everything like that. So I finally then I was a cheap ass. It came out on Blu-ray, and I'm like, as a Twin Peaks mega fan, I should have ran right out and bought it on opening day. But But yeah, I waited. The first season of Twin Peaks competing against, it was a lot of 30 something, a lot of LA Law, Equal Justice. What were the other ones that were up there for best drama? It was all relatively weak sauce stuff. Yeah, Sherilyn Fenn didn't bother to show up for supporting actress. Who won? Oh, China Beach was up for a lot of stuff. Marg Helgenberger won for China Beach, and Patricia Wettig won for 30 something. And who was it for the guys? I'm trying to remember who won for the guys. It wasn't Larry Drake, but it was just, yeah, a lot of LA Law, a lot of China Beach. All that stuff. The one kind of up point was I totally flaked on remembering. Michael Mann didn't direct it, but he wrote some of it, and he executive produced the whole thing. It was Drug Wars, the Camarena story. It won for best like drama miniseries, and I'm like, dude, I've totally never seen that. And apparently, it's on DVD, but like completely shredded. It's like movie length when it was like a 4-hour miniseries. So I totally want to get that now. I'm like, why is Michael Mann on stage? Like, there was nothing for like Crime Story or Miami Vice or anything going, what the hell? And I was like, oh, dude, I got to check out this Drug Wars Camarena story, but I want to see like the real version and not the truncated one. And it had like a lot of people that ended up being in traffic. The Benicio del Toro's in it and stuff. But anyways, yeah, so let the Oscar and Emmys hate continue, because it is just so funny watching it from the perspective of knowing the impact of Twin Peaks and watching the return special features. There's a couple featurettes about the impact. So having just watched those two, like thinking about how Twin Peaks shaped modern television, and to watch back and just see it completely not get celebrated, it was amazing. Anyway, so the return came out on Blu-ray, and I'm like, all right, I should pick it up, but I'm a cheap ass, and it was like $60, which isn't that much. Like, this is the price of a video game. And I bought Brazil on Criterion for $145 and like 95 or 96 or whatever. So what the hell? Why am I complaining? I'm a Twin Peaks super fan. I should go buy this thing. But I was, stuck in the, Amazon will have it on sale forever. So eventually Amazon had it for like $23, something like that. So I picked it up, and I watched it on a night. I think it was almost like I needed for the right time to watch it, because it's a slow burn, but you got to be kind of in the mood for it. And there was just a night where I was in the mood for it. I was in the mood for some Lynch, and it was almost like I was ready to completely give myself over to it. It didn't matter how weird it was going to get, or Miami Vice, that's my jam, man. That should have won everything. But yeah, I was ready. Like, it didn't matter like how abstract it was or how like impossible to follow it was going to be. Like, I was ready. I was cool. So I was like 100% signed on, and everybody's like, get ready to not know what's going on and get ready. And I was actually like stunned by the amount of story that was actually happening. And I was expecting just, I made a joke about like a random shot of a coffee cup, being zoomed in on for like 2 hours. And there is a lot of Lynchian weirdness in it and everything, but the special features are fantastic. There's these huge documentaries on the last disc, which really kind of let you hang out with David Lynch and get a feel for his creative process. And it's really fascinating. And it helps kind of shut down the naysayers that say like he just throws in weirdness just for weirdness sake. Like, you can get a real sense that everything means something to him, even if it's just recreating a dream or something. Like, every detail is important to him, and he really sits with the actors and kind of hashes out where they're coming from, because they're kind of navigating through a sea of strangeness, and he like helps kind of explain at least what they're feeling about a certain character, or just being overwhelmed by the weirdness of a situation. I do love that Miami Vice Blu-ray box set too. I'm glad I picked that up, because I had all the individual Universal DVD sets that came out, but I waited until the corrected editions came out. Mill Creek fixed some of the problems with the audio and everything, and I was really surprised at how good it looks. But so I really dug the return, and it does kind of tread interesting waters because it knows that there's an audience that wants the vibe of Twin Peaks, the original series, and it wants to hang out with Special Agent Dale Cooper. And that was, part of what people complained about when Fire Walk With Me came out. And so I was kind of expecting it to be even more unyielding and ungiving because, I saw Fire Walk With Me, and you're like, all right, I'm waiting for Dale Cooper, and it ends up being about Kiefer Sutherland and Chris Isaac. But I was really impressed on how the return was like expanding on content from the show and the movie. And yeah, man, it was just really, it was moving along. And even though it has this character, Con McLaughlin plays multiple characters, like it actually delved into what happened to Special Agent Dale Cooper. So it was funny because it was giving the audience what they wanted to find out what happened to Special Agent Dale Cooper, but not in the way they wanted it, because you want to hang out with him and the characters you love from the town, or the vibe of the original series. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm probably not going to get the vibe of the original series again. Part of it, too, is because it was a little bit more of a committee. Mark Frost and David Lynch did kind of create it and guide it, but David Lynch didn't direct every single episode. Tim Hunter, man, he deserves some credit for some killer stuff. But Caleb Deschanel, a lot of people. There was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so there was a little bit of committee, and there was like just enough of like the ABC pull on turning it into something, that would play to a network audience, but then had enough of those like Lynchian elements. It was this kind of perfect stew, the perfect balance of Lynch and a nighttime soap opera. Oh, hold on. I gotta go fix, my door just blew open. Here, watch my screen for a minute. All right, coming back. Apparently the ghost of Laura Palmer didn't like what I was talking about. All right, move Yoda back over there. Anyways. All right, so we're talking Twin Peaks, right? Let me make sure I'm still broadcasting okay. Yes, we're good. Yeah, so I knew. Yeah, I know. There's some Twin Peaks weirdness going on here. There's also a very tall man talking about owls in the corner. I don't know what's going on. But I was ready for the fact that it wasn't going to recreate that vibe, because that was like, I don't know, this like kind of perfect storm. And it was going to have some of the same characters from the original. But I was actually surprised at how close it came to the vibe of the original. I thought it was going to be a lot more Fire Walk With Me, and the FBI blew up my door. But there was just so much stuff, and it was all really compelling. And I know a lot of people were bummed out about the Dougie Jones aspect of it, because Con McLaughlin plays Special Agent Dale Cooper, and we got sync problems. Damn it! Hopefully it'll link up. Instead, I'll just do this and see if my mouth, I can do a puppet show. Out of sync we are. Yes. But so you've got Evil Cooper, which was really cool. I liked Mr. C. I thought he was a really interesting character. And then there was Special Agent Dale Cooper, who's got some things going on. And then there was Dougie Jones. And then there was Special Agent Dale Cooper as Dougie Jones. Pretty strange stuff. But I don't know. I liked the slow weirdness of the Dougie. I mean, it pushed the boundaries. It definitely was, abrasive in terms of its, subverting of audience expectations. But I don't know. I think I related to Dougie Jones far too much. So I really liked it. And yeah, Naomi Watts as his wife, Janie E. Loved that freaking Daisy Domergue, and Tim Roth was in there, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. I loved the crazy gangsters, and that was the only thing that was like a little weird at first because so much of it doesn't take place in Twin Peaks. But I was actually impressed with the amount of Twin Peaks characters it revisited, and actually had some stories there going with them. And there was an overall thread. I was just surprised at the amount of material that actually made sense, and the amount of information that David Lynch was actually willing to give, and Mark Frost, obviously. But they were like there was weirdness going on, but characters actually started talking openly about the weird elements that were going on. I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty damn cool. So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that goes in Vegas, and then there's a lot of stuff in a couple other states and everything, and then would bounce back to Twin Peaks and everything. I loved Michael Parks as Sheriff Truman, and love seeing all the old characters. Horace was killer, Andy and Lucy and Bobby Briggs and H&M. Let's see. All right, I think we're back on. Sorry about that, everybody. We lost all thrusters. All right. Let's see if this can maintain. All right, I got some green. Got green edge. We'll go with it. Anyways, so yeah, so I totally loved the return. It was like the good time for me to watch it. And yeah, I liked how it did kind of branch outside of Twin Peaks, but it would go back to Twin Peaks occasionally, and maintain a bit of the original feel. And yeah, I love the idea of ending each show with a music video, and the choices for the bam 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 bam. Why do I keep losing connection? This is not good. All right. Supposedly I'm up and running. I don't know why everything's running strong over here, so I don't know why we're routinely losing connection. Apparently I'm being hacked by people that don't like Twin Peaks. Shut me down. Alright, my studio's up and running. Let's see if we can get some actual streamage going here. I'm just seeing spinning wheels over here. Yeah. It says I got a good stream. It's healthy. It's golden. It's strong. Alright, it's the Matrix, right? It's Cher's ghost. It's Cher, y'all. But anyways, I like the music in Twin Peaks The Return. I like the choice of artists. And yeah, episode 8 was crazy. But I was trying to say, I was having an argument, or not really an argument, with a couple of people that were saying they only liked the plot development episodes. So they only liked episode 8 and like the episode before the finale, and that was it. And they're like, that's it. That's all I need. And it was just him wasting time. And I don't know. I liked the journey. I loved those episodes too. Episode 8 was crazy and delivered as much like of Twin Peaks vibe as it did an Eraserhead vibe and other things. And I was getting a lot of Mulholland Drive too out of this show. I really felt like this show was not only like a sequel to Twin Peaks, but almost like a little love letter to the Mulholland Drive show that never was. But all right, I still can't watch my feed at all. I'm just spinning, so hopefully you guys are seeing something. We'll see. Well, all right, we'll keep on rolling. Whatever. But yeah. So I dug it, fell in love with it. I even liked Dougie Jones. Everyone thought I was gonna hate him, and yeah, I liked the the finale was really interesting, and then of course it threw in another episode after everything kind of wrapped up, which made everything a little crazy again and made you question all that was going on. But yeah, mostly what do you miss? Lots of buffering, lots of Twin Peaks, and before a bunch of LaserDisc pickups and everything like that. I was going to show him again for Moikey, but I know he's going to watch tomorrow. So, anyways, yeah. So I'm probably going to go back and rewatch the whole series again, and the movie. And I'm psyched to get Blue Velvet on Criterion Collection Blu-ray. Psyched to get that, even though I have, of course, copies on LaserDisc and DVD and everything. So anyway, so I watched The Return. I watched all the special features. Actually, I'm almost done with them. I've got a little bit more of the documentary to watch, like maybe the last couple bits. And I watched the Moikey went to bed. I watched the Comic-Con panel and all the featurettes and everything like that. I don't think there's any commentary tracks, but I love too the concept of that place in New York where a dude just sits on the couch and watches a cube that may or may not eventually become active. Oh, man. I think Twin Peaks is stupid good. But yeah, I love that whole concept. It was just so weird and compelling, and I loved it. So anyway, so I also watched, while I had my HBO on to watch Game of Thrones, which again is a whole other nut to crack right there. I'm actually in the minority where I don't have major problems with season 8. And a lot of the stuff that people think is completely crazy and demented seemed like rather organic story choices on my eyes. But whatever, I'm crazy. Don't listen to me. But I decided, since I had my HBO on, I would watch Vice Principals. So I marathoned through both of those seasons really fast. I love Walton Goggins, and him combined with Danny McBride was awesome. I loved Eastbound and Down anyways, but it was a little bit different. Like, instead of, Danny McBride's character was very Kenny Powers, but it was it was definitely a little bit more twisted in that Walton Goggins character was the worst person, and Danny McBride's was a horrible person and self-centered and everything, but he had moments where he had a little bit of a morality crisis when they were doing horrible things. So yeah, it's basically these vice principals. Bill Murray plays the principal of this school, that his wife is sick, and he decides to abscond the throne, and these guys are scrabbling for it. They're both like weasels, and they don't get the position, and this new principal from another school ends up coming into town, so they decide to team up to destroy her. And because they're both horrible people, they've determined that they're best friends basically throughout it. And the second season delved a little bit more into the characters, and especially Walton Goggins' character, and it was fun, really compelling stuff. He is in everything, it's true, but I really dug it. Good, glad more people like Twin Peaks: The Return. Pete hasn't seen it, but I'm psyched to rewatch it already, which is a good sign. And it's been stuck in my head, so that's a good sign. So I enjoyed the hell out of Vice Principals. And what else did I watch? Yeah, Justified was great. And of course Hateful Eight. But yeah, Justified was Timothy Olyphant and him just chewing up the scenery. That was a fun show for sure. A lot of great supporting cast in that too. But yeah, so now I'm intrigued to see the new Danny McBride one, The Righteous Gemstones. So them and what's his face, John Goodman. Yeah. I'm hoping it seems like it's more Jody Hill nonsense. So, Vice Principals was ridiculous. It was fun. And then did I watch any other flicks? I didn't make it out to the cinemas, believe it or not, for a little while there. But I did watch maybe some more documentaries and things like that. But anyways, I've been mostly just living in Twin Peaks land. And then, starting to archive all my old Twin Peaks VHS tapes and everything like that. Just kind of solidified that. So I think I'm going to continue on the Lynch train, especially if Blue Velvet's coming out on Blu-ray. I'll pick that up. I've still never watched Inland Empire, so I'm going to finally take a crack at that. And then I think, I'm going to go back and watch Twin Peaks again from the start, because I have the entire mystery Blu-ray set, and I jumped right to the missing pieces and all that, and I didn't rewatch the whole series on that yet, so I think I'll do that. Oh, I did have a bunch of my David Lynch DVDs and stuff. I should show you guys those, but they're over there. I'd have to take my mic off again. Yeah, maybe I'll do it with that. Show you guys some Lynch stuff. Then I also was on my local NPR channel doing sadly, I was a turncoat. I was talking about VHS instead of LaserDisc, and but I did get to do lots of nice LaserDisc name dropping. Yeah, the Elephant Man's great. Elephant Man and Straight Story are those kind of good, like, entry level kind of Lynch things. Even though Elephant Man's pretty intense and twisted, and does have some stylistic Lynchian moments, but it's good entry level kind of Lynch stuff. My wife hasn't seen the Straight Story, so I'm going to show that to her sometime soon. But yeah, so it's good. We should have a movie of the week, something to watch about. We could talk. Yeah, it's a good idea. Good call. I loved On the Air too. I need to get the On the Air LaserDisc box. I got a DVD bootleg of it. I love that, and I do have a bootleg of the Hotel Room show that never became a show either, which was interesting. And yeah, as long as it ain't Needle Vision, I get a pass. Nice. Yeah, so I got to get the originals of those, and I do have the Mulholland Drive pilot from the VHS tape that was making the round. But yeah, so I talked about VHS on NPR. There's a copy online if you go to. It's called the Colin McEnroe Show. It's the show I was on. And you can go on a Game of Thrones rant. I'll hop on that train eventually too. Yeah, so we talked about kind of how I got hooked into the series, because I pretty much, when I was a kid, my biological dad was manager of one of the early, or actually a couple of the early rental stores in the state. So, like, that was where I saw LaserDisc for the first time, was a DiscoVision kind of set up in the corner of the store that I used to hang out in. So I was like junior Tarantino. Like, I'd get exposed to all these movies I probably shouldn't have been exposed to, like Clockwork Orange and Apocalypse Now. And oh yeah, spoilers. I forgot about. Yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about spoilery things. But still, we might hash into some Game of Thrones. But yeah, so I would be this like little kid, and of course, like, moms and their kids would come into the store and they'd ask for my recommendations. They'd be like, "Oh, cute! There's this little kid working in a video store," because I'd hang out there all weekend, and they'd ask me, what I recommend, and I'd be like, "I think you should get the Looney Tunes movie, and Foul Play, and A Clockwork Orange." And I remember I was like in this total Apocalypse Now phase, and I was recommending Apocalypse Now to everybody. And she was just like, "Yeah, thanks for that. I'll think on that." I remember that, and Being There was the movie I didn't like at the time, because I totally didn't understand it or get any of it. So I was just like, "Don't rent Being There, it's boring. But get Apocalypse Now." And the Looney Tunes movie and Foul Play. But yeah, so I grew up with top loader VCRs and grew up literally like inside video stores. And yeah, so that period's like always kind of something I'm able to revisit. And it was cool. I actually got to be on with a woman that wrote a couple books about VHS, and then a gentleman that ran a video store in Hamden, Connecticut for a long time. So it was cool. It was fun. And I didn't get to talk barely anything. Though it was funny, because the woman that was on the phone from, I think, Washington, D.C., remotely called in, and she happened to mention her favorite VHS tape was the VHS release of the Gore Verbinski remake of The Ring. And I actually just brought a random bag of VHS tapes with me. In fact, I got them over here. I'll show you guys. Yeah, let's see. Of course, you can't talk VHS and not. Yeah, Being There is a classic. But you can't have a Titanic gift set. But yeah, so they're talking about The Ring, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I just whip out a sealed copy of The Ring on VHS. Actually, I have 2 copies of this. I just like the idea that it was a movie about viral video VHS tapes being released on VHS. And I do also have a bunch of VHS promos that the studio sent me for when The Ring 2 came out, with the cursed video on it, and then just a bunch of handwritten, like, photocopied notes saying, like, please watch this tape, I'm missing my friend Bob, or whatever. And they wanted me to go on college campuses and just, like, hide the tapes randomly around there. It was a cool idea, and it was at the end of the like, kind of usefulness of that concept. Like, it would have been a way cooler concept, like, in the late 70s, or I mean the late 90s, sorry. Yeah, the Titanic set isn't bad. But yeah, I had to get the freaking, I just love the case too, because, you know, see-through and pretty cool. So yeah, I pulled that out right when the lady was talking about it, and I handed it to the host, and he's like, oh my god, Sam just pulled this out of a bag. But yeah, the joke is, if you collect VHS, that Titanic is everywhere. But I had to get this set. Like, it was at Barnes & Noble. It is a Ring VHS, and it, you know, came with a fake movie cell, and then a little book. I also have a Titanic CD set from Japan that came with a little version of this same book, and then the tapes. I don't think they're widescreen. I think they're freaking Pan-and-Scan, even though it's Super 35, but whatever. It's got a couple tapes in there, but yeah, Jack and Rose, just for you. And so yeah, also in my VHS bag that I had was, I just grabbed, like, random things that were cool. Claude Lelouch's Rendezvous, which is probably my most expensive VHS tape. This thing cost like $45 on Amazon to get, and it was like from this place, Pyramid Media. It was really weird stuff. It seems like they had some sort of distribution rights to the short, and they just charged ass tons to replicate the video. But it's an amazing flick. It's only like 15 minutes, or maybe even less. And then, of course, I had to drop David Lynch's Industrial Symphony No. 1, which I need to get on LaserDisc. I think there's a Japanese and a domestic. So, yeah, I'll have to get the LaserDisc. And my nice Radiohead 7 television commercials. Super. It's not really a clamshell. It's just a kind of weird, kind of super case. Uncool Normie likes Titanic. Dude, I saw Titanic like 8 times in the theaters. I'm unapologetic Titanic mega fan. There are some expensive videotapes, but it's mostly the same thing. It's like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything like late release. Nobody cares about late release VHS tapes, I don't think, like they do LDs. So yeah, there's no like $2,000 The Cells or anything like that. But there's, you know, obviously horror stuff is, yeah, exactly. Nobody cares about. I think there's History of Violence was the last like US VHS tape. I don't think anybody cares about that. I could be wrong. Maybe it goes for a couple dollars. Everybody just wants really obscure horror for the most part. So, my Bobcat tape, Share the Warmth. Yeah. Not sure why, but ooh, there's that's just the label falling off. Good Vestron stuff. And what else do we got here? Oh, more music stuff. Oingo Boingo. I'm so pissed Oingo Boingo never released a LaserDisc. This should have been on LaserDisc, and it was early enough. The Halloween, their final concert, should have been on LaserDisc too. But yeah, I saw Titanic in DTS in 70mm. Was probably the last time I saw it in the cinema. But yeah. Oh yeah, MGM Gatefold VHS tapes. Good stuff. And then I had my Only Pal tape, which sadly I can't watch, but sweet ass canon release of Legend, which of course has the Euro cut with the Jerry Goldsmith score. Of course, I got this back when that was a big deal. Obviously, it's easy to find nowadays. And what else? Oh, nice. Bones Brigade video too. Future Primitive. I would have brought Search for Animal Chin, but that I don't have the actual case for it anymore. And this one had the cool ass case. So I brought that. And the Tai-Seng release of The Bride with White Hair. Ronnie Yu flick. Awesome flick. So I brought that. And this is also on LD too, but Cramwave. Sam Raimi and the Coen brothers working together. Also known as the XYZ Murders. Cool charter. Sadly, there was a bunch of stuff I wanted to bring, like my Werewolves on Wheels VHS, but I put it away in a closet, and I didn't find it until like 2 days later. So, my old X-rental copy of Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn with how Legend is showing in the UK. Nice. I will watch Legend over and over again. But yeah, it's from Video Galaxy in Rockville, Connecticut. Got it for $9.99. Don't know if you can see it, but stupid labels. It's these Vestrons, man. These Vestron labels don't stick. Let's see what else we got in here. And not the original release. This is the HBO Canon VHS of Evil Dead. You got to bring some Evil Dead with you if you're talking about VHS on the radio. And what else? Just a random movie. Megaville. It's a pretty cool flick. Got a little bit of sci-fi, really low budget sci-fi elements, and Billy Zane. Yeah, gotta love some Billy Zane. And my newest VHS tape, which came out in 2013. Yeah, VHS 2, Electric Boogaloo, with the cool fake, rental stickers and fake spine wear and all that stuff. Magnolia dropped this guy. Oh, nice. Exterminator 2. Sick. Yeah, so I brought all those guys with me just for fun. And we chatted, and the whole time went by really, really fast. So it'd be cool to go back on sometime. Melinda's got some storm action. Oh, stay safe. We'll catch you on the flip side. I'll probably be back on maybe a Thursday or Friday again next week. I still don't have that Japanese Blue LD, that Herald Videogram LD. Someday I'll get it. But I need to get from somebody who didn't spend tons of money on it, and they're willing to part with it for a reasonable amount. So I'll show you the random Lynch stuff I had pulled out. I just got to go get it. Let me put this crap away first. Clean up my stuff. And so I did that. Did I watch anything else? I swear I watched some other stuff other than Twin Peaks and Vice Principals. But the Closure double VHS, I've got that too. And I do have the DVD file that Trent leaked. I have that and the Broken DVD that he also leaked. I've got the official ones of that, but I have the bootleg of the Broken video, and then the Closure double VHS, which the DVD is actually nice. But you have to burn it yourself. There's no official release. There was going to be an official release of it, and they got it ready to go, but I don't know. I forgot what happened or why it didn't get released. But that is some cool stuff. Yeah, it's got the making of a bunch of videos. It's got him hanging out with David Bowie, and I am really bummed I missed that tour. The Nine Inch Nails Bowie tour was that 95, 96 maybe. I saw Nine Inch Nails on Downward Spiral tour in 94 probably, with Pop Will Eat Itself and the Jim Rose Circus, which was pretty badass actually. But I wanted to see later on that tour cycle. He came through again with David Bowie, but I missed that one, sadly. All right, so let me go grab, let me take this off again. I'll go grab that small pile of Lynch stuff. Bear with me for a second. I'll show you some DVDs. I hope you like these DVDs, because I'm showing them to you. Alright, put this crap over here. Get my sound back on. Alright, take you off the helm. Alright. Hopefully this is still going. Alright, looks like we're still green. Anyways, okay, cool. So, I was digging through boxes and found a bunch of Lynchian DVDs, including the this one I bought from David Lynch, his website, directly. The short films of David Lynch, which is bam, a bit huge, and has this kind of strange opening thing. And I think I have the actual discs themselves out elsewhere. Yeah, so it's just got this booklet inside. I forgot how much I paid for this. It wasn't cheap though. And it's got, what is it, 6 men getting sick, and it's got a Lumiere kind of thing, and the Cowboy and the Frenchman, and yeah, like maybe 6 or 7 shorts, something like that. Damn it, I'll put that together later. So yeah, I got that. And it's too bad Paul Muad'Dib left, because we're about to get Dooney. Can't get enough Dune going on. I got the UK special TV edition of the Alan Smithy cut. Let's see if we can put those over there without them falling down. Bam. Any special features? Informative new liner notes. Yeah, got that. Yeah, it's got a booklet and everything. Just figured I'd pick it up. It's in PAL. And then I also grabbed this. This is a pretty nice, another UK Sanctuary put out, of the theatrical cut special edition, with a few special features on here. Tattoo with Bruce Dern. Never had. Oh man, yeah, I've never seen that one. I gotta check it out. Got a couple Dune discs inside. And this is actually a bootleg. This is the Dune Professional Edition I picked up at a con. It's basically it's like a mix of cuts, with the added violence from the theatrical cut put back in. With a fake kind of case stolen from the American DVD release, which I have that somewhere too. And then this is I think it's a Brazilian release. Duna. Yeah, we're getting Dooney. This one's got a couple discs in a slipcover. And a couple badass discs. We got the TV version and widescreen original theatrical. These NTSC. Yep. What else? Not too much special features or anything. Yeah, I don't have the Japanese LD box. My David Lynch LD collection sucks for the most part. So I just have the AC3 widescreen version of Dune. And yeah, it's pretty sad. I'm totally missing some. Oh, well. I'll bust them out sometime. And yeah, I love this steelbook. This Dune steelbook. With both cuts. But it's a crappy flipper, unfortunately. It's got like a little booklet explaining everything. Yeah, so I definitely need to buy some more Lynchian LDs. Then I think this is this the Korean import? I have 2 copies of the original Twin Peaks DVD set. The one in the States did not come with the pilot, but the Korean version came with the pilot, so I imported them. And I'm missing one of them. That's probably downstairs somewhere. But I think one of them had a little bit. This might be the American one. One of them had a thicker kind of slipcase thing. Laura Palmer on there. But some Twin Peaks action. And so yeah, I need to find that. And my Blue Velvet DVDs are all missing right now. I'm not sure where those are hiding. Oh, and I got a butt ton of stuff downstairs too. Eraserhead from Korea and Wild at Heart from Korea. This is just the boring season 2 DVD. I never did play the Dune computer game. That sounds pretty cool though. And this guy, which has a slip cover, but I never put it in it because the slip cover is so damn tight it's almost impossible to get out. But Korean release of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, with 2 discs with The Art of David Lynch and a couple other things on the second disc. But it's a pretty badass Fire Walk with Me set. Little flimsy tray on the outside, but not too bad. Ooh, 4K scan of Dune. I'd be all up in that. And pretty cool booklet. A little trifold action. So yeah, I got tons more downstairs. I totally forgot about them, but that's some of my David Lynchy DVD crap. Obviously, I got Straight Story and Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet and multiple copies of Lost Highway. I think I got the German DVD and the original Japanese DVD that came in a regular CD jewel case, and I've got the Portuguese DVD and probably a few other ones. So, but yeah, I'm psyched to have the new Blue Velvet Blu-ray when I get that. Looking forward to that. Anyways, so that's the Lynchian nonsense. The only thing that sucks about Lost Highway is I'd love for a Criterion Collection version, but somebody putting out a good Blu-ray of that. But the DVDs were all like, there was never like a quality, like perfect DVD. The Japanese one had a lot of compression artifacts. And yeah, I would be way into a Lost Highway Criterion because that's my favorite Lynch flick. And then the Portuguese one was really nice looking, but the audio was kind of okay-ish. I don't know, the mix wasn't great. And then the German one was fantastic, but had lip sync issues on just about every player I have had. I've never been able to get one. So I mean, you could change the lip sync like delay if you want to kind of tune it up, but it does look great otherwise. But so yeah, so many different versions of Lost Highway. But yeah, I'd love for a Criterion. Glad that I have Fire Walk with Me and all that good stuff. Favorite books? Definitely anything Lovecraft. Big Lovecraft fan. Read a lot of Haruki Murakami, Hard-Boiled Wonderland at the Edge of the World. That's up there. What else? What else is some of my favorites? Obviously, yeah, dumb nerdy stuff like Lord of the Rings. Lots of good readable value in that. I used to read a lot of sci-fi stuff when I was a kid because I was a total nerd. So I'd always be reading like Ender's Game and Stranger in a Strange Land, and yeah, pretty much all the heavy hitters. Contact, obviously, but yeah, like overall favorites, probably Hard-Boiled Wonderland at the End of the World is up there. Obviously, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is probably my favorite. I still do love some Casino Royale just because it's so fast and just concise. I haven't actually read any Elroy or Cormac McCarthy. As an NPR correspondent, I fail on the assigned literature of my generation, or the generation above me too. That's the stuff I'm supposed to read. But yeah, I haven't. I just watched the movies, which are obviously relatively hit or miss. Yeah, Dune. I was one I used to reread all the time. That was that's very very dog eared my collection. But yeah, like H.P. Lovecraft like didn't do much beyond short stories except for a couple novellas, and so I guess you know, At the Mountains of Madness would probably be the creme de la creme there. But all of his short stories, for the most part, kick ass. So it's tough to pick a favorite out of those suckers. And then sure, there's something ridiculously. I'm a for newer stuff. I'm not even that new anymore. But I'm a apologist for Ready Player One, of course, too. Sorry. And sci-fi stuff, I haven't been picking up on a lot of the newer stuff. Obviously, like the Andy Weir stuff, I've been reading, and but yeah, I'm well behind the curve of new sci-fi things. So, oh yeah, Peter Biskin's Easy Riders Raging Bulls. There was a nice was it Showtime documentary based on that book too? Yep. And yeah, Philip K. Dick stuff. I remember reading, Do I Enjoy the Dream of Electric Sheep as a kid after Blade Runner came out. I'm like, this isn't Blade Runner at all. And just be like, but it is pretty interesting. Damn, I know there's something like ridiculously like obvious that I'm missing, but watching some Twilight Zone on LD. Bruce Willis in it, directed by Wes Craven. Wow. So it was 80s Twilight Zone stuff. I'm a huge fan of the 80s Twilight Zone reboot. So many great stories and like really good talent directing and writing that series, and yeah, it's cool. And watching that stuff, you're like, oh damn, that person's in this thing. Yeah, the Black Dahlia movie was such a hot mess. I love LA Confidential, obviously, but I would like to read the book because the Black Dahlia case is really fascinating, and that movie was just it just went off the rails, De Palma style, and the glorious way that De Palma can make a movie go off rails. So, favorite movie synth score is obviously Vangelis, Blade Runner. Though I do love me some Harold Faltermeyer and some Wendy Carlos, and then John Carpenter's like entire career would probably be right behind Blade Runner. And yeah, it's tough. I don't know if I could pick a favorite Carpenter readily though. Halloween's up there, but Big Trouble in Little China's up there. Even though it's got a little bit more rock kind of stuff, it's not as synthy. I'd probably have to go to Escape from New York if I had to pick a Carpenter score. That would be like my ultimate that I would listen to over and over again. But yeah, 50s Twilight Zone. Classic Twilight Zone is still cool, but I still stand by the 80s Twilight Zone hard. There's some really great stuff in there. Yeah, so I guess I got to read some more Elroy. Obviously, after Trainspotting dropped, I read like every Irvine Welsh book. So I was into those for a while there. And yeah, there's always that annoying period as you get older when you start just buying nonfiction primarily. So I definitely hit that period, probably like 10 or so years ago. And just about everything I get is either some sort of book about music or film or something to that effect. So I definitely haven't been keeping up with what's current in popular fiction. No. But then it comes around again. You get to a certain age, and then you just sit on a beach and you just read like Michael Chabon books or something like that. So I guess that's going to happen. Yeah, The Thing. Gotta love it. I felt bad for Moiki because he had The Thing on his list of Laserdiscs he picked up. And I was hoping it was going to be the signature collection for him, but it was just, actually, still good. It was the widescreen universal release that came out before that, but I was hoping I was pulling for a signature collection for him, but sadly 'twas not to be. But yeah, so I'm excited to get this freaking LDS9 hooked up and get that going. I'm going to order I've got Solaris, I'm a apologist for the Steven Soderbergh Solaris, but of course the original I have on LaserDisc. But yeah, I've always meant to read that book. I've got Solaris and Stalker, and that's about it for that. But yeah, where's my Solaris LD? Is it around here? I think it might be. Yeah, it's right here. Well, that's where it comes out. But yeah, I only got a couple Tarkovsky flicks. This one is it is widescreen too. 92. This one came out. So I'm sure it's out on, yeah, Criterion put it on DVD, but I'm sure it's out on Blu-ray by now. But yeah, I like both of them too. I like the vibe of the Soderbergh, and I like the cast, and they got the kind of like inherent sadness, and yeah, I just like the mood of it. Yeah, 2.35 to 1, and 3 sads. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll get the Criterion collection eventually, but I got this in the meantime. But yeah, I should check out the book for sure. I don't have any Stanislav Lem stuff, so I'm a slacker. Yeah, I was meaning to hit up. Barnes & Noble's got like a sale on their classic series, those like cheap ass, reprints that they make, and I've got some of those already. I got like The Idiot and a Kafka compilation, which is pretty cool. I love that one, and a few others randomly, but I think they're only like $6 a pop or something. I don't know when the sale starts, but. And then, of course, I'm psyched for the eventual, I'm assuming the July Criterion Barnes & Noble sale is going to happen. And I'm ready to go crazy on Kurosawa, Cronenberg, and Lynch films. And start beefing up that collection a little bit. Yeah. So, what do you guys got planned for the holiday weekend? Anything good? I'm going out of state for a little bit, but might do a little bit of shopping. We'll see. Might get up to Salem. If I go to Salem, I'll go to Harrison's and a couple other places up there that have comics and films and vinyl and whatnot. So maybe I'll be coming back with something. The Archive's having a killer sale this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it down there, which is a bummer. They're having a halfway to Black Friday sale. I think it starts tomorrow and goes through, I think it goes through to Monday. With a lot of, I think everything's pretty much on sale, but some things are like even more. I think VHS and LaserDisc are half off or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah, the B&N selections can be weird. The Criterion sale, it's a beast, man. Every time it happens, I'm like, next year I'm going to be ready, or, because it's usually semi-annual. I'm like, next season I'm going to be ready, and you're never ready. But I was smart the last time. I did finally suck it up, and instead of buying like a bunch of discs, I was like, I'm getting freaking Kozlovsky box sets, and it was totally worth it. Like, saved a ton getting the Decalogue and the Three Colors trilogy, and yeah, it was worth it. So, but yeah, so I'm trying to aim at record convention, sick. I haven't been to a good record convention in a while. I used to love to buy all the bootlegs and everything like that. 4K seeing Evil Dead 35mm on Saturday. Nice. I was supposed to go see Slayer on Saturday up in Massachusetts. I don't know if that's still going down. I was supposed to go with a friend of mine. So I'll have to keep in touch with him and see if that's still happening or not. And then I got to stop back in Somerville. I got to drop off some turntables with a buddy there. He's going to take one for himself, and he's going to rehab one for me. So do that, and then Monday is like a bit of a wild card. Hopefully I'll have some time to enjoy myself, maybe watch something. But yeah, I do love that they're doing Arrow sales now, Barnes & Noble. That is cool too, because Arrow stuff, is usually a little pricey. So it's nice to have an option to get those things cheap. But I do love those Criterion sales. So I'm definitely gunning for any remaining Lynch I'm missing. And there's that, was it Pretty as a Picture kind of thing. That's usually cheap anyways. I'll get that. If I don't have Blue Velvet already, if I can wait and not just pull the trigger quickly, I'll pick that up. And Eraserhead, I don't have Criterion yet. And Kurosawa Blu-ray, I'm pretty much bereft of. I think I've got Yojimbo. And is that it? That might be it. So I need to really rock that. And Cronenberg, I think I'm missing a lot. I had a lot of Cronenberg DVDs, but I sold them like a knucklehead. Favorite HBO show is tough, but I probably just got to go with Tales from the Crypt, because it's not a Game of Thrones or a Sopranos, but it made an impact for sure, and I love rewatching it. So much talent in there, and but yeah, for like a story kind of related show, it's tough. It's probably like a tie of Sopranos and Thrones, but yeah, it's definitely Tales from the Crypt. I should go with Dream On with Brian Benben. Actually, I didn't like that show when it first started, but I kind of fell into it as time went on. But yeah, Tales from the Crypt was, I used to tape it on VHS all the time, and was way into it, and loved having the DVDs. High rewatch factor for sure. Fraggle Rock, dude, 4K. He knows the score. Fraggle Rock, that's a good one too. The Doozers are my jam. I have some Doozers around here somewhere. Oh no, they moved into the next room. But yeah, I got a couple stuffed Doozers. Do I play guitar? Yeah, I've been playing since maybe 83, something like that. First, the band that really got me to... Yeah, it's tough. I don't even know like if there was one band in particular that made me grab the guitar and start playing it. Because it was like a mix of crap. Like I was really into punk at the time, so I was like really inspired to start my own punk band. So it was like a combo of like Dead Kennedys and Black Flag. So I even had this band, Spent Chemicals, that I was going to be in, which turned into like 3 other band names before long. And I would make the album covers and everything like that. And then I never ever actually recorded anything. I do have a recording of me doing a Christmas song called Christmas Death, which is just me and my guitar without an amplifier on or anything like that. But then also I was exposed to a lot of classic rock and everything like that. So yeah, I Paranoid was one of the first tunes I had learned. Obviously I couldn't rock the solos and everything like that, but a lot of the usual stuff, Zeppelin and Can't Get No Satisfaction and that stuff. I had a pretty my teacher that I had was pretty well steeped in the classics, so all the way back to Wooly Bully and things like that. And so yeah, I kind of grew up on a whole like bevy of hard rock and just rock and roll classics. And but Metallica was the band that got me to kind of take it a little more seriously. And SF Marine's in the house. What's going on? Yeah, we didn't really discuss Game of Thrones too much, so the guys have been going back and forth, but yeah, just the potential spoiler, I guess, factor there. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it. But yeah, I've still not watched The Wire. Sorry. I know everyone loves The Wire, and I get recommended it all the time. But yeah, the Game of Thrones action's still going on. But yeah, so anyways, back to the guitar. So I my first guitar was a Hondo Fame. It's still here in the room somewhere. I think it's in that closet over there. It was a Hondo Fame Strat knockoff, and I was psyched later on because it was very similar to the one Gary Holt from Exodus played, and yeah, so I played that and it fall out of tune all the time. Favorite Rolling Stones tune is Paint of Black for sure. But yeah, so I learned on it and had a neck like as thick as a tree. So it was kind of cool. It was like a worst case scenario, went out of tune fast. And it was great to learn on. So yeah, I learned just like simple scales and everything like that. And yeah, so it was a lot of a lot of learning kind of the rhythm basics, cutting my teeth on a lot of Beatles and things like that. The cool thing, though, is that my teacher would, because it was before I developed an ear myself, so he would, obviously it was your dime, so he didn't mind transcribing songs that you wanted to learn. You could bring in a tape, and he would try, and he didn't do the best job. He didn't really like tear into like the proper chording. Sometimes it'd just be like power chord renditions, but it would be like, oh, sick, like I could learn to play like the stuff I really wanted to play. So he would assign me a lot of classic rock stuff and Lay Lady Lay, and then but I'd also bring in I want to learn some Beastie Boys songs, and I want to learn the entire soundtrack to Repo Man. So it was cool. So I would bounce back and forth between this ridiculous stuff, and I'd be like, I want to learn some Oingo Boingo and things like that. And so it was kind of cool because I was kind of exposing him to some strange stuff that nobody else was asking to learn how to play. Pink Floyd stuff I was playing a lot of. But yeah, so once Metallica kind of melted my brain, that really kind of, I grabbed those Cherry Lane books and really kind of dug into learning the entire song. My dad used to always bust my balls and be like, why don't you know the whole song? Obviously Van Halen too. But yeah, it was Metallica was like the one where it first cracked when I first started learning entire songs. And then it was off from there. And then I switched over to bass. I still play guitar though, obviously, and I play acoustic guitar in my band when we go acoustic occasionally. But I switched over to bass in maybe 2010-ish, something like that. I didn't jam with anybody for a long time. In fact, I just recently did an archive of my band playing CBGBs in 1992, April 92. And then, so that band kind of happened, and I joined a couple of bands randomly after that, and then kind of put it all aside for a long time. And then I joined the census, and I was a census enumerator in 2010. And I just happened to be in a class with a bunch of other like hard rock metalhead guys, and one of them was a multi-instrumentalist. And so I would go over. He was also the guy that had to like sign off on my paperwork. So I would go over to his house and like get him to sign off my paperwork, and then we jam on like thrash metal tunes for like 2 hours. And we even there's a really, I think, embarrassing video out there of some like blues jam we did for like the end of our period doing the census. We did like a concert and like played a bunch of Metallica songs and AC/DC songs and Pink Floyd and stuff. It was ridiculous, but so that got me to shake off the cobwebs. And so then I switched over to bass because my friend's band needed the bass player, and then that kind of started the whole new thing. I'd been playing bass like occasionally before that. Clutch was the band that made me want to start playing bass. And so I did play bass a little bit in the 90s, but then I switched over full time in 2010, 2011. Favorite Beatles album? Damn. Yeah, probably Revolver. Yeah, that's what I'll go with. What else? I probably missed a ton of questions. I apologize about that. Do I watch any animation films, Disney stuff? Yeah, for sure. Especially I was just thinking I need to get a lot of more of the 90s Disney stuff, but I've got most of the classics, yeah. And then Beauty and the Beast is my favorite, and I've got Lion King on LD behind me, and Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast and Snow White and Bambi and all that stuff, and Fantasia, of course, Mikey's favorite. Yeah, so I dig that stuff. Yeah, the guitar-based stuff is killer. So yeah, I was playing a lot of Beatles. Day Tripper was one of the earlier riffs I remember learning. And then, metal kind of took hold. And then I, went off and joined a band and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, at some point I got to put up my, I'm trying to sync the audio from a board recording from that CBGB show with the video. But yeah, they were both on, high videotape and, VHS-C videotape, and I forgot what kind of audio cassette. So there's a lot of push and pull. They're not syncing up amazingly well, so I got to get that going. Yeah, Clutch just continually keep kicking ass. I feel bad. I haven't seen them live in a couple of years. I used to go see them live a lot. Such a great live band too. But yeah, their albums, like, they just keep kicking ass. So yeah, the newest one I really dig too. But yeah, every time I think, yeah, they've written every cool badass tune, they come out with another badass tune. Smoke on the Water was very early. Like, that was, like, I'm trying to remember, like, the first riff that my guitar teacher gave me, and it might have been Smoke on the Water. The first one I'm trying to remember, Smoke on the Water, Can't Get No Satisfaction was in there. I think I still have maybe my, like, tab book that he would, like, kind of custom rate riffs in there. I might have that somewhere. And I'm trying to remember if it was oh man, probably Iron Man was in there. So it was like a mix of those guys. But yeah, that was one of those ones where I knew the riff, but I didn't know the whole song, and my dad would bust my balls and be like, how about you learn a whole song for once? And I think it, like, Van Halen maybe was, like, the first time I learned a full song, and then yeah, the Metallica floodgates open. But yeah, Smoke on the Water was close. Which is funny, because now one of my buddies who I used to jam with is the drummer for Rainbow now. So it's funny how I know a guy that hangs out with Richie Blackmore all the time. So it's strange how that kind of worked out. Yeah, I should have jammed with the guy more often. I have a really interesting space kind of jam I did with him called Monster Bazaar. And I have it somewhere. I should post that on, like, archive.org or something like that. It was just us in that guy's basement, just making some weird spacey stuff. And then I mixed in, I probably can't put the final mix, because I mixed in, like, audio samples from 12 Monkeys and Heat and things like that. So I might get a copyright takedown if I post all that stuff. But I'd love to. I think I might have a digital copy of that by now. So. All right, what else we got going on? Love me some Studio Ghibli stuff. I need more. I need that freaking LD box set. How well do I do playing Rock Band? It's funny, when I first started playing Rock Band, I was really bad at guitar because I knew how to play guitar, and it was too different. It was just, like, too weird, and it was like, that was almost like it was a handicap. But I, like, right when it came out, I went over to a friend's house, and we formed a band, and I got hooked. Actually, Rock Band, stupidly, is probably close to a reason for me to getting back into playing live as much as the Census Group. I mean, the Census Group was probably more important because I actually started playing music again. But it was a combo of Rock Band, kind of capturing the spirit. I mean, as much as it is a game where you're hammering away at plastic instruments, the drumming is pretty legit. Like, it'll teach you actual rhythm skills, and the singing, that's the one I mostly did singing at first. It has actual pitch measurement, so if you're on expert, it's pretty unforgiving, so you can actually learn some sort of skills, and it definitely captured the band vibe, and it was enough of a capture of the spirit of it that I realized that I missed actually being in a band. So that definitely led the way. And then my nephew at the time, who was young kid, sometimes he'll pop on here, we'll see if he shows up, was really getting into it at the same time. So I was always playing, like, the endless set list with him, and just anytime he was over the house, we were building set lists. And even the last time he was he lives out in Seattle now, but the last time he was over, we fired up Rock Band, and it was cool. We went up to Harmonix and play tested Rock Band 2 before it came out. So that was too cool. So yeah, it was one of those things where I actually did a audio job doing audio work on some video for a friend of mine, and he actually paid me in Best Buy gift cards, and so I was able to go out and buy the first Rock Band kit for myself, And yeah, I stayed up late a lot because I wanted to like 5-star everything, and then I wanted to gold star everything once I jumped over to expert. So that's when I kind of learned how to do the guitar. Because yeah, I'd kind of dabbled in Guitar Hero, but not really that heavily. So Rock Band was when I was really kind of cut my teeth on playing plastic guitars. So I eventually, yeah, I wanted to complete every song in expert, and so I like meticulously tore through every single song on the Rock Band 1 playlist, and downloaded a lot of stuff too. But yeah, I wanted to gold star everything and do every instrument in expert. And Rock Band 2 was a little bit more free form, and so that kind of, yeah, I wasn't as obsessive about it. It was just more fun. But yeah, I got into it hard, and there was many a nights getting frustrated at flirting with disaster and green grass and high tides. There's even a funny story too, because there was this period where there was a citrus smell that was overpowering, and it was starting to get to the point where I would actually get nauseous because I was sitting on the couch playing Rock Band every night with my character Rip Shreddington from the band Goat Burner, and I would start to get nauseous because there was this overwhelmingly powerful smell, and I thought it was like something going on next door. Like I thought maybe somebody died and somebody like squirted some like some scented lotion on the body so it wouldn't smell like a corpse or something. So I even like contacted like the landlord at one point, and then to come to find out, like well down the road, maybe a year or two, we had to like go digging through the couch for something, and my wife had some sort of orange citrus like body wash or some sort of lotion or something that fell into the couch and got crushed by the couch and just squirted out over everything. And I thought like, oh man, like every night, like it kept getting worse and worse, and like it smells good at first, but it started to smell kind of toxic, and I thought I was dying, and but I had to keep playing Rock Band, so I'd be like up trying to master green grass and high tides and not vomit. Man, trial by fire. Yeah, I don't have Rock Band 4. Yeah, I should get that. The newest one I have is Rock Band 3. Never did play Halo myself. Like, I was always a PlayStationer. So I just played vicariously through friends occasionally when I'd hang out with my Xbox friends. But yeah, I'll have to get Rock Band 4. I do miss playing Rock Band. I don't really have anybody to play with anymore. Like around me that plays it. So, but yeah, I was into it. And then yeah, I went to a party one time in New Hampshire, and this one guy, I had a projector going because I had it on my projector too, so it was cool. I got to play with a bunch of other people at a party, and like we had it on like he had a full wall going, and we were just kicking ass. And that was when I first had to step it up to expert, because he's like, I only play with people that play expert. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm doing expert vocals now. And then I finally started doing expert guitar and everything like that, and playing with my nephew all the time. It was fun. I had a great time. So I'm glad there's somebody out there that's still doing the Rock Band. I was really all over. In fact, if you go back and check out if there's any if it's still up there, the old Electro Harmonics forum, look for Culturedog on there. That was my hanging spot for the longest time. I was all over those Electro Harmonics forums. There was like always like someplace I hung out. Like in the late '90s, it was Empire Magazine had a thread, a forum, and I was always on the Empire Magazine forum. In fact, I wish I knew some of the people that were on there. I wish I knew where they were now. And then yeah, eventually it was a couple of other things, and then yeah, the Electro Harmonics one I was always chilling on. I'm so close to gold starring high tides. I know, right? It was ridiculous. And then yeah, I would like write down like my gold star scores and like keep a spreadsheet, and I was into it. I was really into it. I still have my Rock Band 2 shirt they gave me for playtesting it. It was before that like some shirts were actually available, so I was excited. It's just the 4 instrument logos and everything, but it was cool. We got pizza. We got to play Rock Band 2. It was awesome, and we got to see the the songs that were going to be on the game before the game came out, and yeah. Yeah, I never did do I never did too much online stuff. I did some stuff to get achievements and all that, but I mostly just played with friends in the room and did the solo stuff. But yeah, it was cool. I was in a couple bands. GAC was one band, and yeah, Goat Burner was my band. Fun stuff. What are we talking about? Brother Bear. I never saw Brother Bear. Wall-E. Yeah, man. Wall-E is almost like two movies rolled into one. It does kind of shift tone a little bit. Still one of my favorites, so it's up there. And I know that was my favorite Pixar for the longest time, so I might have to reassess. But I don't have 8-track. I used to have 8-track though. Growing up, we had 8-track in the car, of course, but then also a sick 8-track system in the house. And yep, everybody's favorites. Captain and Tennille had some what else? I think we had some Zeppelin. We had oh man, what other 8-tracks did we have? I know there was a big pile. Moody Blues had on 8-track, and then there was a period when I don't know why my grandmother was like into 8-track too, and like me and my mom went and bought locally like this big giant box of 8-tracks, and we were playing them all, and they were all like brittle, and the tape was failing, and I never did reel to reel though. I'd used reel to reel in recording situations at my radio station, but I never did hi-fi reel to reel. I remember quite a few people like were either friends of the family or whatever that had those systems, and I remember thinking it was the coolest when I was a kid. Like, oh man, that's like when you knew you were like really into hi-fi. You had like a badass turntable and a reel to reel setup. Yeah, that was where it was at. But yeah, sadly, I never got there. When I got into my like collecting audio on my own, we just had micro cassette or regular cassette, and vinyl, and then eventually I moved into CD. Eventually, awesome. Police 8-tracks, nice, kick ass. All right, so also doing some Pixar stuff. Toy Story 2, very nice film. So I didn't see Toy Story in the theater until like a anniversary screening a couple of years ago. Toy Story 2, of course, I saw in the theater. I actually like Toy Story 2 more than 1, so that was on the top of my list for the longest time. Oh, never mind the box on 8-track. I've got a nice US copy on vinyl that I inherited from my dad. But I definitely didn't have that on 8-track. Up is up there, but yeah, it's tough. Bug's Life is weird. I enjoyed it a lot when it came out, and I enjoyed it a lot as early DVD because that was one of my kind of go-to DVDs to watch to kind of show. Kind of everyone was focusing on the macro blocking and stuff like that, but I was definitely impressed by the lack of chroma noise in DVD, and that was kind of my go-to. The colors were just so rich and just vibrant and intense. That was like kind of my go-to DVD, but that original DVD, it wasn't even like anamorphically enhanced, and I never did buy. There was like a nice like clamshell double case one that came out later. I think my mom had it. I never picked that up, and so I think I did buy a reissue later on DVD. I think it's just one with just Flick's face, like super huge on it. But I haven't watched it in a long time. But it's funny, when it came out, it kind of made a big impact. Saw it in the theaters at least once. And yeah, it was like my go-to DVD for a while. But it's one of those things I haven't like revisited, and I don't hear a lot of other people talk about it. I mean, I like the whole concept that it's riffing on Seven Samurai. That's awesome. But yeah, it doesn't seem to have maintained a fan base as much as a lot of it, like obviously Toy Story. But yeah, there's that sweet ass reel to reel in Pulp Fiction, playing some Urge Overkill. Yeah, that was like the coolest. Mia Wallace's pad was the Shiznit. Spencer likes the dirtier sound of the USA box. I need to get an UK original. Yeah. I have no idea what those are going for nowadays, but they're probably not super cheap. What else? Yeah, not top tier Pixar. Oh, A Trackmaster likes Ants better than Bugs Life. You know, I never did get around to watching Ants. Because at the time I was just like, I don't know, I was wrapped up in the whole kind of politics of it. Like, no, man, that's, Katzenberg's ripping off Disney and all this stuff. And yeah, there was the battle. So I was definitely team Flick. And yeah, as Moiki's got the Japanese LD. There was at one time when he was trying to punk everybody when he was doing a live stream of watching the Japanese LD, but he was syncing it with the English audio from a DVD or something. And he made everyone believe that he had like a secret rare copy of A Bug's Life on Japanese LD with the English dialogue. But yeah, it's just one of those flicks that hasn't quite like garnered a reputation, which is amongst Pixar fans. Pixar was pretty much knocked him out of the park for me until Cars was the first one where I was just kind of, I wasn't into it fully. Like, I enjoyed a lot of elements of the film, but I didn't feel like they put a lot of effort into the concept of it, and it felt like it was the concept of Toy Story, like they really put a lot of thought into it, and like Cars seemed really slapdash, surprisingly. Like, it had a lot of the kind of hit you in the feels, like, homages to nostalgia and the nostalgia of Route 66 and the American freeway and all that sort of stuff. I loved all that stuff, but the concept of the cars alone, like, and it's funny, and whenever I would bring it up, people would be like, well, it's just a dumb kids movie. I was like, well, that's the point. Pixar movies aren't dumb kids movies. Kids love them, but they're really, like, the story is well thought out and really really smart. And Cars was the first time it really let me down on that front. And I never did bother to watch the sequel, and I think I saw some of Planes. But Wall-E's animation is killer. But yeah, I still do. It does get weird how it's like, it actually has Fred Willard as a real human, like in the scenes on Earth. So it's really going for that, photorealism, and it's almost like not an animated film. It seems like it's using the CG to do like a live action film, really, and then it turns into a full on animated film once it gets out into space, and then it has the humans reimagined as these big blobby people. So it was kind of weird. There's a little bit of a disconnect there, where it's like some humans are actual video and then some are animated. So that was kind of strange, but I don't know. I still love it. I love the whole kind of Wall-E Eve story, and I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to beat. Plus, I loved that it had a throwback to classic science fiction art, because you're reading Starlog magazine and all that stuff back in the day, and I had like puzzles of a lot of old kind of classic sci-fi art, and I loved, like, it kind of threw down a love letter to a lot of that stuff too. So good stuff. Sausage Party. Cars 3. I haven't seen Cars 3 yet either. So I'm down for Toy Story 4 for sure. I enjoyed 3. I thought that was fun. Was there any other? Yeah, I liked Finding Nemo, and that my wife doesn't like Finding Nemo, which is interesting, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I was trying to think of those other Pixar movies that kind of didn't work on me, but Cars is probably the only one. But yeah, Incredibles, loved both of those. I enjoyed Incredibles 2 more than I thought I was going to. I mean, that was one of those ones where it's like I'm sold just from the title, Incredibles 2. Yeah, obviously I'm going to watch that. I would give Wall-E a hug too. It's funny too, because I remember, like, when it came out, when the promo came out originally, it was just like a Wall-E standee, and they were like, "What is this? Pixar's doing some lame Short Circuit knockoff," and then he totally won us all over. And Finding Dory, I have not watched yet, so that I haven't seen. But yeah, I was sold on Incredibles 2 from the title, but I didn't really get a sense for the story from the ads. And then I watched it, I was like, wow, this is really cool, and I really liked it more than I was expecting to. I watched not Pixar, but I watched Ralph Breaks the Internet finally recently. I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, Finding Nemo also had that killer bass in the aquarium towards the end. It was just like a subwoofer destroyer. Yeah, so I'll check out Finding Dory finally. I'll probably have to watch it by myself because my wife. Yeah, maybe she'll watch it with me. We'll see. I like the Dragnet movie simply because Tom Mankiewicz finally going to direct. I need to watch Dragnet again because the first time I watched it, it was around. It had come on cable, and it was around July 4th, if not like proper. It was the weekend when the July 4th like fireworks and everything were going on locally, and me and my cousin decided for some reason that we were going to stay up all night because we were young and stupid, and like that's like super cool and rebellious, I guess, to stay up all night. But we were also working on this makeshift makeshift skateboard ramp in my basement, which ridiculously actually worked because it was not a proper half pipe or quarter pipe or anything. One, it was in the basement with regular like height ceiling, and we like built it up on like giant like spools, like wooden spools of like cable or something that my dad had stolen from work or something like that. Kind of like one of those kind of spools like leaned up against a wall and supported by like a bunch of paint cans and things like that. And then we had like a couple layers of like thin wood that we were able to like kind of layer on top of it to make like a transition into it. And then we like spent all night putting custom graphics on it, and we were like really excited about making stencils. So we were like making stencils of everything and like hand painting everything. So we spent all night and most of the next morning designing the skateboard ramp that like I used like for, even though it was just supported by stupid paint cans that started to crumble, like it maintained functionality for a long time. And for some reason you could skate up it and tilt your body just right so that you didn't crash your head into the ceiling. And people used to come over and skate this thing all the time. I've got some pictures of it somewhere. But yeah, so we then the next day were going to the fireworks display at this park nearby where you could see the fireworks from the city, like if you're up on the hill. And we were trying desperately to stay awake long enough to go out, and we figured once we're out and about we're going to stay awake, no problem. So we were like, we'd finished up doing the stuff with this skateboard ramp, and Dragnet was on cable. So that was my first time watching Dragnet. Total sleep deprivation, trying to stay awake because I knew I'd get in trouble, like because my parents were like, you assholes, you stayed awake all night, you better be awake for the fireworks later. And so we're watching Dragnet, and I just remember kind of like half hallucinating that movie, and I'm like, I don't know if it's funny or not, but I don't know. Dragnet, yeah. I liked that it had some Art of Noise in it. I think I have Art of Noise Dragnet 12-inch somewhere. I think I have that still. Yeah. Anyways. Ooh, yeah, the Genesis device effect from Star Trek 2. That was the coolest thing ever. I remember that. It was like, oh, sick. Let's watch Genesis terraform a planet. Coolest CGI of all time. Anyways. Ooh, Johnny Quest Warner Archive Blu-ray. Yeah, I love me some Johnny Quest. That's up there. That like really captured my imagination as a kid. Just the fact that it had different animation style than Hanna-Barbera stuff. It was a little bit more realistic. It's very stylistic. The jazz kind of theme song, which obviously it leads me into my present day being a huge fan of Venture Brothers, and Venture Brothers obviously were fans of Johnny Quest. But yeah, it was like a different thing for me, and the whole kind of unbridled adventure of it all and everything like that, and the crazy villains, as Adam Carolla would say, the strange origin where they were kind of like Sino-Germanic villains. They were always like some sort of weird, Dr. No-esque kind of mixture. Nobody knew what nationality they were. But yeah, that show kicked ass. Yeah, I'm dying to see it on Blu-ray. Oh, nice. Aha talk. I love Aha, especially for the fact that they did The Living Daylights, which is a very underrated Bond theme, and the fact that they worked with John Barry. I know John Barry didn't enjoy the process of working with the band, but I think the tune kicks ass. So yeah, I need some LP. Aha, LP action. But yeah, some archive Johnny Quest Blu-ray. When's it dropping? Is it like an announced phase? Because I will definitely drop some coin on that. And I don't want to see any of the reboot Johnny Quest crap, and I don't want to see like, that was the only bummer about when I got the Hanna-Barbera Jetsons DVD set, is that it had like the bumpers and stuff, and like the end credits, or some of it was from like the 80s reboot when they had like threw in Orbity and all that stuff. So even though it was the classic episodes, it had the new 80s kind of trappings, unfortunately. I mean, I watched all those episodes and everything like that, but I wanted like the OG Jetsons action. And then, yeah, of course I bought the Johnny Quest DVD set too, but totally into getting it on Blu-ray. So yeah. Ooh, uncut, correct credits. Nice. All right, I'm down. Right? I knew Spencer would dig some Aha Living Daylight stuff. That whole soundtrack kicks ass. That it's one of John Barry's best. And I always say like John Barry dabbled in the kind of electronic era on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and it totally never sounded dated. And then he did it again with Living Daylights, totally never sounded dated. And Spy Love Me and For Your Eyes Only, like completely failed to maintain like a serious kind of quality. Like it just sounds cheesy now. I mean, there's some cool stuff in there, but John Barry just knew the score for sure, literally. But yeah, that soundtrack's got that, and all the Pretenders, Chrissy Hynde stuff. The Chrissy Hynde stuff is so good too, man. If I Had a Man, such a good song. Oh man, yeah, I just love it. But yeah, the Aha theme. I love that bit where it like gets quiet. I mean, when the headlights fade away, it's just kind of like, it's such like a raucous kind of tune, and then it just like kind of kicks the mood back. Like all of a sudden, it just like kicks the seat back a little bit and has this kind of really kind of calm, like good like late night driving vibe, and then it just like starts kicking ass again. So a favorite Roger Moore Bond? No, it's definitely a tie between Spy Love Me and For Your Eyes Only. Actually, it was always the cosmic joke that the two scores that I like the least out of the Bond era are my two favorite movies of his. So the Stealing Beats from the Bee Gees will date you. Yeah, Connie stuff was pretty cheesy, but yeah. But yeah, I love those two. But yeah, score wise, View to a Kill is a badass score for sure. But yeah, Spy Love Me, and I used to love For Your Eyes Only more, but I don't know, they kind of go back and forth. And I'm a complete apologist for Moonraker. Moonraker's a favorite of mine. Yeah, probably because of the time it came out and where I was, and it made a big impact on me, and like kind of I was able to kind of soak in the Bond mania, the Roger Moore Bond mania that was going on at the time. It was cool. It was cool, like period, like that post Spy Love Me wave, and everyone was like really into the Bond movies again. It was really badass. So, but yeah, For Your Eyes Only was like, I saw in the theater a couple times, and that was one of those ones where like my biological dad took me to go see it, like illicitly without telling my mom, and then I actually got to go see it again with my mom and my dad now. So it was cool. It was like awesome being able to see that multiple times in the theaters, and just seeing Sheena Easton on the screen and every part of it. That was like one of those movies too when it came out on cable. I would just watch it over and over and over and over again. So like every moment of it was imprinted on me. So yeah, freaking loved it. Yeah, Moonraker is a bit slow, but I love I love Michelle Lonsdale. Yeah, I love moments of it for sure, and the score, really dig it, and yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. I like the locations. It is a bit of a slow burn, but not as bad as Never Say Never Again. That's the slowest burn. Thunderball is a little languid overall, anyways, just because of the underwater nature of it. But I don't know if I have any AHA on LaserDisc. I should get some. I know Moikey's got some, I think. I mean, if I do, it's part of a compilation, but I don't think I do. So, yeah, the theatrical trailer Close Encounters, that is badass stuff. There's like touchstone kind of landmark theatrical trailers, like that one, Alien, the Aliens trailer that used the music from Alien. Yeah, wore my bond tapes out at the point of having to buy more copies, right? That's how you do it. But yeah, Free Guys Only. That was my jam. And then the coolest thing was, like, right around the time that came out, I saw my dad took me to go see a double feature of Thunderball and You Only Live Twice. Strangely out of order, though. And so it was like right when I was kind of getting my bond on. I already thought like Moonraker was the bee's knees. But I was like really getting into the serious vibe of Your Eyes Only, and then just in case I didn't get the full experience, my dad took me to go see a double whammy at Connery, and that sealed the deal. I was like, I'm not coming back from this. Yeah, right. Moonraker, like, people do kind of get wrapped up in the comedy elements of it, but it has some really cool stuff in it, and it does have some moments, and I mean, obviously the John Barry score helps and everything like that, but it's got a vibe, and some of the bits on Drax's compound, and are pretty impressive. Some of the fight stuff is pretty cool, and I don't know, I don't mind it at all. I love just the vibe of the whole concept of space shuttles and everything like that when it came out. Like, it was fun. Let's see, Batman '89. Yeah, I remember that was going on. The GoldenEye. There's a couple of good YouTube capture of the GoldenEye. It's like an open matte GoldenEye teaser trailer that's on YouTube. That's a good one to watch. And 1991 LaserDisc of Terminator. Yes, I've got. Not only do I have the CLV of the. I've got the CLV of Terminator 2 and the box of the theatrical cut or whatever. But for Terminator proper, I've got the THX one. So actually no. So maybe I don't have the 91. There was an earlier pre-THX release of Terminator proper. So I don't think I think I just have the THX one. Where is that? That's Star Wars, Star Trek. That's probably down there. Is this no, it's over there. It's buried behind a guitar right now. So, yeah, right. Where Drax's mistress is killed. Dude, man, running through the kind of. The mistiness kind of the filters on the lens, and the John Barry score and the dogs. That's really cool stuff. But yeah, is it the gatefold Terminator? The first one is, it's just all single disc stuff, no gatefold. But I do have a gatefold, obviously, of Terminator 2, the original release of that. And then I've got the later gatefold special edition release, and I got the box sets of each up there too. Tomorrow's your last day of 9th grade. Nice. 9th grade LaserDiscer. That's awesome. Congrats. What do your peers think about it? Are they think you're crazy, or are they down with the LaserDisc cause? And congrats on getting out of 9th grade. Let's see. What else is going on down here? Yeah, Live and Let Die. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the George Martin Live and Let Die either, but it's got its moments. I'm usually a John Barryist, so so Man with the Golden Gun, I'm cool with that, obviously. And I'm definitely cool with View to a Kill. And Octopussy's probably like one of my least favorite Barry scores. Like, I don't know, it's got some cool stuff in it, but I like View to a Kill a lot more. But yeah, that's it. Yep, I know. We're Corinne. She's always gotta have a sacrificial lamb though. But yeah, I've been hearing Daniel Craig's undergoing surgery now, so apparently it's still not going to hold back the next Bond film, but we'll see. Pete wants a Scream Factory or Arrow Blu-ray of Terminator 1, right? Yeah, I've just got the box set that came out. I forgot what the Fudge Wagon Explosion Pants box set or whatever they call it, the Ultimate Steel Biscuit box set. I don't know. There's always some sort of ultimate extreme name for everything, but it's one of the ones that's got orange and teal versions of movies on it. But yeah, so I'll have to get some of the I don't have any Japanese Terminator boxes, or I don't have the Squeeze THX release either of T2, but I got to get that. But yeah, I think I just have that one copy of Terminator 1. And yeah, they're both great for different reasons, as Pete said. Seeing Terminator in the theater was like a mind-blowing moment, because I mean, like, straight to video kind of action movies and everything like that were cool at the time, and action movies, like, we loved things like Road Warrior, obviously, and that, but like, it was like this kind of melding of the low budget action movie and like high concept, and it just completely blew away my dad and I, and we went to go see it probably like 3-4 times in the theaters. Just couldn't get enough of it. Like, James Cameron just put a lot of effort into it, which showed. So all right, Spencer's going, George Martin scores the best non-Barry. Yeah, trying to think of my best non-Barry. Yeah, I am actually an apologist for Kamen's License to Kill occasionally. The David Arnold stuff was serviceable, but I don't know, he didn't ever really knock it out of the park for me. So, and so maybe the Martin is, I don't know, it's a little too TV movie for me though sometimes, like, especially in the context of the film itself. Like, it's just, I don't know. It kind of like cheapens the overall film for me sometimes, but so I might have to go Kamen. I don't know. We'll see. I want to think on that a little bit more. But yeah, T2. Yeah, Terminator 1 has never like looked that fantastic on LD. The THX one's not bad though, but it's always like a kind of grainy looking flick. It's low budget and it kind of looks like that. So it's okay, man. Pete's apologist for Live and Let Die. A Bond movie that isn't my favorite is still like gonna be above many other movies. Like, I'll take a bad quote unquote Bond movie any day of the week, and I would not like say I don't want to watch that. So yeah, you guys can like your Live and Let Die. I curse Tom Mankiewicz and Guy Hamilton. but I'll still watch those flicks over and over again. But the T2 Squeeze with the AC3, yeah, that thing is a little bit of a biatch to find, unfortunately. Maybe Peter Biancardi will get bored of his at some point and I can buy it off of him. I'd love to get that. And maybe I'll get a Muse copy someday when I get my X9 or my Sony Muse player that I'm not getting, at least not now. David Arnold, it wasn't bad. I really like his Casino Royale score, actually. And actually, I think he did a lot of interesting stuff in Quantum of Solace as well. But and then I don't know. We're all in like Thomas Newman town now. But I think Casino Royale was when he kind of pulled it together a little bit more. Like he was, I like that he was throwing as many homages to Barry's Way as possible, and I really liked his Shaken and Stirred CD. That was fun. Collaboration, especially working with propeller heads and everything like that. But yeah, I remember liking his Stargate score. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so Live and Let Die is just, it just felt too much like a TV movie at times, like score wise. But it's got some cool stuff in it, and yeah, I mean it's floating around my least favorite, but Diamonds Are Forever is still currently settling in as my least favorite. But yeah, there's the T2 when he goes into the bar and you see his readout and everything like that. That you can see like way more of the imagery on different letterbox copies. So some are a little bit more zoomed in. No, man, I'm cool with Man with the Golden Gun. That used to be my least favorite, but that's actually my favorite of the maligned Roger Moore. Well, obviously people hate Moonraker, so I guess Moonraker is technically my favorite of the maligned Roger Moore stuff. But Man with the Golden Gun, I enjoy a little bit more over time. I do like Hans Zimmer stuff, and I like his one note, kind of like shepherd tone, kind of crazy stuff he does. I like the whole kind of one note concept of the Joker for Dark Knight, and the Inception score I love, even though he totally swiped a cue from Quantum of Solace in Inception. the music when they're in the opera in Bregenz, Austria, I believe it is. There's this kind of dreamy, very John Barry-esque moment. And yeah, he kind of lifted that in Inception, but I love that Inception score. Oh, Michael Nyman. Dude, Michael Nyman's Gattaca score is up there, like with one of my all-time favorite scores. Like I freaking love Gattaca anyways, but holy crap, do I love that score. That's good stuff. And yeah, and I was kind of like slagging Thomas Newman, but I do like a lot of Thomas Newman stuff too. It's just he's very busy, and sometimes like he probably could dial it back a little bit and let a scene simmer, but he's just always got that kind of constant motion going on. But yeah, I like Hans Zimmer going back to probably Black Rain was probably the first time I kind of like paid attention to him, and I was like, oh, I really like the vibe of that movie. And he's doing some more interesting things now. I liked his like collaboration with Wallfish on Blade Runner 2049, obviously, and yeah, good stuff. It's too bad. I don't know if he really does much anymore, but like 90s stuff. Elliot Goldenthal was my go-to guy, man. Between Alien 3 and Demolition Man and Heat, which is like a complete masterpiece. Goldenthal was like way up on my list. Oh, An Interview with the Vampire. He was like my favorite guy for a while there. Yeah, just like in the early 80s, James Horner was everybody's like favorite between Star Trek 2 and Aliens and like Brainstorm and all that stuff. And then he started to repeat himself a lot. Then he kind of pulled out of that a little bit. He kind of like created like a new vibe for himself, and then like Braveheart era, and then started kind of cannibalizing himself again a little bit. But yeah, I love me some Titanic. But yeah, that Alien score, man, that kicked everyone's ass. All those horn stings and everything like that. And obviously I was oh yeah, Batman Forever too. Yeah, Goldenthal was like really pushing the envelope with mixing in a lot of experimental sounds and things like that. Like I love how the beginning to Alien 3, like you don't know what's Foley effects and what's actual score, and like the kind of metal instruments he was using, and then yeah, working with Paige Hamilton from Helmet in Heat, and Kronos Quartet and all that stuff being on there. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, good stuff. And obviously, I know he gets trashed all the time, but I was a Danny Elfman fan from the word go, because I was an Oingo Boingo fan. So when he did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I was in. I actually appreciate it. Like, Danny Elfman obviously had his sound, but he occasionally would change things. In fact, I was just watching Extreme Measures, and I was like, oh, I really like the score for the opening titles. And I was surprised when Danny Elfman's name came up. I had totally forgotten he did that. And there were some moments like in the 90s when things like Simple Plan, things like that he did, where he finally broke the mold on the traditional Danny Elfman vibe, and stopped kind of copying himself and becoming a parody of himself. And they said, like, I don't know, like maybe his stuff after that hasn't been extremely memorable, but I kind of dug some of the stuff he did for Planet of the Apes. He always does cool percussion stuff, which makes sense. That goes back to the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, with all the crazy percussion stuff they would do. But even in Oingo Boingo, I love freaking after he started doing scores, and then they came back again for a weird last ditch effort when like grunge was really big and they were trying to kind of rebrand the band. But there's a song Insanity off the last Oingo Boingo album. And like everybody's playing, drums in the beginning of it, and it's badass. Try and find the live version from the Farewell concert from Halloween. It's like killer. But yeah, and that song has a lot of Danny Elfman strings and swells and things like that. Last Seduction, nice, Bill Pullman. Yeah, Last Seduction. I remember, I don't know who clued me into that, if it was Siskel and Ebert or something like that. But I remember hearing a lot of buzz about it, and I got it on LD. Where's my Last Seduction LD? Bam. Yep. Awesome flick. And then I got it, and Linda Fiorentino was just such a beast in it. She was so evil. It was great stuff. Cool flick. Good John Dahl stuff. Yeah, Bill Pullman, Peter Berg. There's a lot of good cheap punch-out LDs of that out there. The multiple pressings, too. I think there's maybe a DADC Austrian pressing of that that's not rotted, so good stuff. I love the PCM track on Tim Burton's Batman LD. Sounds great. Like that kind of obviously was a big deal on VHS. So I remember when it came out, how big of an impact was to have Batman on sell-through so quickly after it was in theaters. So it's like I've got a little bit of nostalgia for that, but I like the LD captures the vibe of that enough, and of course it's nice and letterboxed and everything, and it's got that kick-ass PCM score on top of it. So I actually love the LD because it's got a little bit of like nostalgia for the VHS period for me too, and then obviously LD nostalgia, and it's just got a great feel for it. Great vibe. It's like kind of my go-to copy of Batman '89. And I still need to replace my Batman Returns that I gave away like an idiot. But what else? Stargate. Yep. I need to watch I need to actually get the extended cut on LD. I've seen it on Blu-ray, but I need to get the extended Stargate. Stargate's it's fun. It's cheesy, but I remember that was one of those ones I had the script for before it came out. And so I went to go see it, and I remember I was like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna be cool. And I was like, I read the script, and my roommate was like, that movie sucked. And I was like, what do you mean the movie sucked? And she's like, why'd you take us out to this crappy movie? I'm like, come on, man, it's cool. Well, the script had more stuff in it. Yeah. It makes more sense, I guess. But it's funny. I was watching Stargate at the office with a friend of mine, and we were watching it from the perspective of just how ridiculously stupid Daniel Jackson is, and how everything he does is the chances of it not being fatal is ridiculously slim. everything he does like should probably end in his death, but he's just like completely like confident in putting his life on the line, and everything just happens to work out good. Yeah, Bill Pullman's the man. Serpent in the Rainbow, man. That's my jam. Obviously, Spaceballs was cool, but yeah, man. Let me some. Carlitos Way. I need to get that on LD too. That's a good LaserDisc, for sure. That should be in my collection. But yeah, Pullman, man. I was a big Pullman fan. Between Spaceballs and obviously Serpent in the Rainbow and everything after that. And yeah, man, his speech in Independence Day was like the coolest thing ever. That was the thing that made me a little bit disappointed in the movie, is because the trailer was like so badass and seemed so serious that when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, this movie is like way more like clowny than that trailer. Like that trailer seemed like serious stuff. He was giving a speech and like I was in. Like, this is cool. Then I saw the movie and like Randy Quaid was like a total dork, and then he was like played off like almost like serious in the trailer, and like he was just total clown shoes in the movie proper, and I was like, oh, this movie's like way hokier than I was anticipating, but I still need to own multiple copies of it. Well, I guess it's creeping up on midnight. I should probably get some sleep. I got to go to the post office tomorrow, send out an LD to 4K Cinema HD. I'm doing a trade with him, and yeah, so I gotta hit the post office in the morning and get some coffee and get all ready for the weekend. Hopefully everybody will have a badass long weekend if you're celebrating Memorial Day. If not, hopefully you have just a good weekend proper and can get out of work for at least a day or two. But yeah, so I think next week shouldn't be too crazy. So I should be able to at least do a Thursday or Friday. I might be able to do a Friday again next week. I don't think there's anything going on. No like traveling out of state or anything like that. So we'll see. And hopefully I should have those new DTS discs coming in. Favorite Mel Brooks is Young Frankenstein. Definitely. There was a Hitchcock fan, High Anxiety is really cool. And there's a lot of other also-rans for sure. But my first favorite Mel Brooks movie, though, like was History of the World Part 1. I saw that before I saw Young Frankenstein. So that's my favorite now. But when I was younger, it was definitely History of the World Part 1. That was my favorite. I was obsessed with that movie when I was a kid. Thought that was the coolest thing ever. I actually did use some of that too when I did a panel at a film festival once, and I used the scene with the world's first critic and the pissing on the world's first artist, the caveman artist, and the critic taking a piss on the wall. Classic stuff. And yeah, I always was hoping for Jews in space and Hitler on ice and all the stuff promised in History of the World Part 2. But yeah, Inquisition song, classic. What a show. But yeah, Young Frankenstein's pretty cool too. I saw the stage rendition of that too with what's his face from Desperate Housewives and Hostel Part 2. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. But anyways, I saw that. That was pretty fun too, the musical. Yeah, Independence Day script is a little too silly to be taken seriously, but yeah, it was fun. I had a good time with it. And yeah, everything was yeah, that kind of Roland Emmerich cheese. Yeah, everything worked out just a certain way, and yeah, a little too simple, but yeah, whatever. The variety was fun. And it's got Harvey Fierstein going, David, all the time. Good stuff. Yeah, no, I definitely want to do more videos between live streams. This is just me being lazy. Well, not really lazy, but I just have had a crap time of editing lately. So this is just me like trying to get people to put down the pitchforks. I've got a huge series of videos I've been writing and putting together, like a 4-video series, LD related. So, but this is just me trying to, get everybody from not flipping tables before that stuff comes out But I do absolutely miss having regular reviews and things like that. But it's just schedule's been really, really sucky lately. So yeah. So I'm just trying to stop the bleeding, one way or another. Yeah, just trying to stop the hemorrhaging, put a patch over a little bit. So I figured the live stream was a good way to do it. For them, I mean, at least I can get out there and talk about some things and give some reviews. But I do miss doing review propers, or reviews proper, or review propers, that too. And there was just a period where I just had such a backlog, and it was like, oh crap, I'm just never going to be able to get caught up with the backlog of stuff with my stupid schedule. And so this kind of was a necessary evil, I guess. But yeah, so that's it. That's the state of the Culturedog universe. So yeah, I'll report back on that LDS9 once I get that plugged in. See how that goes. Hopefully, I'll get that step down converter within a few days once I order it. Hopefully, there'll be Amazon Prime shipping on it. If not, I'll probably have to wait a week or so. And yeah, I'll report back on some of those more LDs, and hoping to buy some more LDs soon. And I'll share them with you soon and all that stuff. And yeah, I want to get out to the cinemas too and catch up on a couple things. I want to see John Wick 3 and all that shenanigans. But yeah, cheers. Hope you guys have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on the flip. Catch you next week. Peace out.